Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pit of Crumpin. As always, I'm your host, Stephen Mason, Lord Commander of the Streaming Chamber. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, a mysterious being, recently raised up into the light from the lowly rank of Pit Grot. The man, the myth, the big bully legend. Some days he's only 50% water. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Faber. Brian, how you doing?
I'm hydrated. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. We're going to go over some games today. I think it'd be good fun.
Yeah, who do we have playing? We have two games today, correct?
We have two games. Matt Robisch playing both of them. It's just his contenders changed a little bit. He's going to be playing Eli Ramos in the first match with his Ironjawz, and then Spencer on the second one with his Seraphon. Some say it's an originalist, others say stole it wholesale.
So Sylvaneth v Ironjawz round one. What do we got round two?
Round two, we have Daughters of Cain versus Seraphon. Should be an interesting list.
Yeah, I think actually our players are already set up. So let's kind of run through our lists first. Oh, hold on. Okay, just got from our new pick, Brian, your replacement. All the terrain, we're using Hammerfest rules, so all the terrain is going to be mystical.
That's right. With Hammerfest looming, we have decided to go ahead and dip into that pack. So this means that all terrain will have one effect, and certain things like Purple Sun will actually be a little modified. But we'll see if we see a Purple Sun today.
Yeah, so we can actually get into the lists here. New Sylvaneth. This is actually the first time I'm seeing them played anywhere, stream, not stream. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to this.
Right. So the interesting thing about Sylvaneth is last couple editions they have been middling at best, not super great. But now that they have a new shiny third edition book, you're seeing the forest for the trees. So definitely interesting. We're seeing some lists come out. Are actually looking to be very popular for Hammerfest. So I think it should be an interesting game. They definitely have a very unique play style with their strike and fade. They basically, the tree starts speaking Elvish, you know you're in trouble.
And I have to check that back. I actually have played against Sylvaneth a couple times. I've played against John, and I'm sorry, John. I put his Sylvaneth directly into the wood chipper, so I'm really hoping Matt does a little bit better.
Matt has a pretty brawly list, so probably like going over the list we see here from the top, he's taking the Heartwood. That is going to give him a 6+ invulnerable save. His grand strategy will be take what's theirs, so he's going to be coming to the Ironjawz. Should be very interesting. Triumph he may or may not get with a 40-point bid with Indomitable. As far as his, it's not listed here, but he did take the burgeoning as his seasonal war. That is going to give him the 6-up ward, whereas Heartwood is going to give him a hunter aspect. So
he can 6-up army wide.
6-up army wide, as long as he's within overgrown terrain or within his terrain piece, the Wake and Wildwoods.
Interesting.
And then the Glade, his Heartwood, just as a correction, that's going to allow him to basically mark 3 separate targets, at which point his army will get a nice +1 to hit.
I heard that's really good against Giants.
It's very good against Giants. I played this list just last week, and I got dumpstered, something I'm not used to. Matt played very cagey and was able to basically feed me my own feet. It's almost like Matt is one of the top players in Texas.
Yeah, I noticed a quite frankly enormous portion of this list is tied up in Alariel.
Yes, the Thigh Queen herself. She's 840 points.
Brian, does she slap now?
She does slap now. She's got a very interesting war scroll. Definitely looking at big damage attacks, big rend, a Spirit Kurnoth to reach out and touch you with that damage 6. So she's pretty good. 16 wounds, 3-up save. She's going to be fast. She can be a teleport where she needs to be. She's a hammer and anvil both. Able to heal herself continually throughout the phases.
Yeah, she gives hands out a lot of buff to all of her fellow tree people. And you mentioned that Spear of Kurnoth, which is 1 attack damage, takes at 24-inch range. But the Beetle also has 4 damage 5 attacks.
Yeah, it is truly a Herculean beetle. It's very beefy, good, strong attacks, high damage. As with any model like this, you're hoping to mitigate any misses that are possible to really put that damage out. Because if you miss even one attack, you definitely feel that damage output slip.
Yeah, and like we said, she has a lot of buffs. She can summon stuff. I think once per game.
Absolutely. So that's her big unique ability is that she has the Soul Foray. She can choose what she's going to summon, basically put that down on the field. So she's not truly 140 points. She comes built in with those summons to give Sylvaneth some flexibility.
Yeah, it's interesting because she can get Dryads, hold points, let them body. She can get Tree Lords. She can get most everything off the Sylvaneth.
Absolutely, like, she's truly a Swiss Army knife. She's definitely coming in. Whatever the Sylvaneth need to do well, she can put down on the board. Other aspects to her, she of course has Living Batarang that gives her D6 mortals. She performs a monster's action with the Stomp. That's definitely beneficial. Additionally, if you kill her, depending on the battle round, you can bring her back.
Yeah, that's nutty. Moving on with Matt's list, he also does have that Arch Revenant, which buffs Kurnoth hunters. So if you look a little bit further down, Matt has a couple of hunters. So that's a +1 to wound on all of them within 12 inches. So he's probably going to have a little ball of doom kind of rolling around.
This is definitely a part of his linchpin of his whole overall strategy. He doesn't have a lot of support characters, so this Arch Revenant is very, very important to provide the benefits and buffs that he needs to actually do the damage with the Kurnoth hunters. Those Kurnoth hunters with the scythes we'll get to in just a moment, they do a lot of damage, but if they miss even a little bit and leave an enemy alive, they can often suffer. So this helps do a little more damage, put a little more output on the field.
Yeah, and like we said, it's mainly just those two heroes, and then what, 12? Yeah, 12 Kurnoth hunters.
Yep, it's a fairly simple list. So the rest of the list is, of course, going to be those 12 Kurnoth hunters, 2 units of 3 with great bows, and then that big unit of 6 with the Kurnoth size. That's huge damage, big rend, great stuff.
All right. Yeah, it's nasty. Moving over to Ironjawz. This list has a special place in my heart, if I'm going to be honest, because it's oops all pigs.
That's right. We got tons and tons of pigs. Eli has a distinct strategy here, whereas we see Matt has basically spammed the Kurnoth. Now we're seeing the same spam with the pigs. So Gorgrunta's very strong. They are very fast. Big chunky models do decent damage. Definitely get where they need to be.
Yeah, and being essentially a bunch of heroes and then all Gorgruntas in Bloodtooths, which is his war clan, all that extra free movement, just basically every turn at the end of the combat phase is it's pretty crazy.
It's being really interesting, right? Because Sylvaneth, they have the strike and fade, they can run away in combat, but Eli's his faction ability is going to allow him to basically redeploy, so he's going to put constant pressure on the trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for his leaders, he does obviously have the big mega boss on Maw Crusher.
Yeah, it's hard to really run an Ironjawz list these days with at least one Maw Crusher. It is a centerpiece cabbage for a reason. It's a big model, lots of damage. It's fairly tanky, and it can basically rip you in half or get removed off the board and be a big hole in your heart. But it's definitely a great centerpiece model to have. So as far as this guy, he did opt to go with the Boss Chop and Rip Tooth Fist. That gives him an additional armor save, decent number of attacks. Pretty standard what we see for Maw Crushers. He did take Master of Magic. He's basically using this as his spellcaster. So with the Arcane Tome, Master Magic, he's hoping to really basically put out some decent magic. So he did opt to do the spell Bash 'em Lads. That's going to give him +1 to wound for his models, along with the Fasten trait. So that's going to mean that basically he's going to hit hard. He's going to be very fast and be hard to contain. Should be a very interesting movement piece. From there, we of course have the Mega Boss. He is going to be just a nice linchpin in the backfield with the artifact, the Destroyer. Give additional damage to him, so that he's going to hit very hard. While not being super fast, he's still a force to be reckoned with.
Destroyer is once per game, right?
Destroyer is once per game. He will have to pop it, but it is a great for taking down pieces that you don't want to do. So if he gets in touch with those 6-man unit of Kurnoth Hunters or Alariel, he can definitely dish out the damage needed to clear those pieces.
Yeah, and he also has the usual couple of War Chanters with the different beats on them just to pass out those buffs.
Absolutely. The double War Chanters probably mandatory with a list like this. They just do too much. War Chanters are a linchpin piece for any Ironjaw army, being able to dish out that +1 damage for them with the to basically give the Ironjawz what they need from there, along with their war beats. Here we have fix and beat and get and beat. So a little bit of a heal, along with a 3d6 charge, would be very crucial when getting the Ironjawz up and across the field.
Yeah, that 3d6 charge is adding even more to the maneuverability that he has with those pigs. The 10-inch movement, the 3-inch free move at the end of combat or a charge. Even with the fade, Eli's going to be able to get something into the enemy every turn.
Well, that's what we need to see from Eli, and if he hopes to basically cut down the mighty oak that is the Matt Robisch, he's going to need to put that constant pressure out and chip away at those trees wherever he can.
Yeah, the interesting thing I'm not really used to seeing in Ironjawz is this kind of this fungoid cave shaman.
Yeah, Fungoid Shaman, we see him a lot in lists like this. He's a nice little cheap ally. He provides good spell support. He's very self-sufficient. He can give an additional cast once per game where needed. So in this case, we have seen the Fungoid opt to go with the Universal Spell Lore Levitate, which basically means that we are actually going to see pigs fly this round. That should be definitely interesting. From there, the list basically finishes up with just big blocks of Gorgruntas. So we have one big block of 6 Orc Gorgrunters. They, of course, have Jag Gorhakas. We've seen that pretty much standard since the new book has come out. And then we have 4 units of 3 Orc Gorgruntas. So lots of MSU pigs here, so they can get it where they need to be and basically tie up the field. Take objectives while that big 6-man Orc Gorgrunta unit, along with the Maw-Crusher, deals the real damage for this.
Yeah, he does have 3 of those, including the 6-man in Bounty Hunters. I don't know if that's going to make a difference in this particular matchup. I don't know if the Kurnoth Hunters are veterans. I don't think they are. I think they have too many wounds.
They are not. They are 5 wounds apiece, they are not actually Galatian veterans. But in a list like this, you definitely want to make sure that you have Bounty Hunters available where needed.
Yeah, especially with those Gorgon, because they're already doing so much damage on the charge. So if you charge them into a big unit of Galatian veterans,
Absolutely, and it's still important here in a list. Matt may not have any Galatian veterans now, but he can summon in with that, again, the Soul Amphora from Alariel herself can bring in Galatian veterans, and making sure that you kick them right in the teeth is going to be very important.
Yeah, so those are our 2 lists for today. Both of them kind of very smashing and straightforward, so might be a quick first game, so we'll see.
It definitely has the possibility of being a quick game, but we'll just see what happens here. Matt has basically been very well known to be calculating and very deliberate with his actions. He knows what Ironjawz does. He has played them enough times to basically know their tricks. And so as a result of that, he can definitely be able to play around that.
I mean, I think most people know what Ironjawz do. They kind of only do one thing. So we're going to go ahead and give our players the go-ahead to start here. And while they're doing the roll-off and all that other stuff, we're actually already set up on screen. Let me transition here for you guys. Both of our players are already set up. Like I said, all the terrain is mystical. I believe nothing else.
Hey, Matt, could you point out your pieces of power?
Hold on, I'm getting some information from the table. Getting our Sylvaneth places of power pointed out for us. Hold on, folks. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. It looks like our top-down is frozen. So we're going to keep you company while we send our pit grot to deal with that.
So, Steven, any sort of predictions of this match? What do you think we're going to see?
I've actually played against this list that Eli is running iterations of it before, and it does one thing. It does it very well. It gets across the table and it hits and it attacks you. If you survive the initial alpha strike of the gore crunchers coming, all of them coming into you at once, you have a better chance of actually coming through. You have a better chance of surviving that alpha strike and hitting back, and that's really, I think, what you need to do against the Ironjawz list. I've never actually seen this Sylvaneth list run, but I have heard about it, so I'm really intrigued to see how it does.
Well, it's really interesting because we're seeing Sylvaneth being actually outnumbered by pigs. So I think that's something that Matt's going to have to play into. He's going to have to be very cagey. He does have the movement and teleport shenanigans with Sylvaneth in order to be able to do this, where he can basically utilize that strike and fade and have a positional advantage over Eli. But Eli's fast enough and has a couple tricks of his own that we may see something, we may see some interesting plays. Definitely with something that's referred to the Ironjawz shuffle, like he can move in, charge them, and then retreat out in that same phase so the Sylvaneth can't attack. That can definitely be something that may be able to help him basically really focus on the combats for himself. We'll see if that comes into play. I definitely think this is going to be an interesting cat and mouse type game where the Ironjawz want to go in. So interesting to say, Sylvaneth may not care about Alpha, but there's not actually Tree Lords available here unless it's summoned in. Like, we're definitely looking to see a more of an elite list with the Granati Hunters. So we'd have those 5 wound models, and they can be very, very tough. But Ironjawz have the output to chew through them. So we're gonna have to see Matt play very cagey.
Something I also did want to point out, if you joined us for our Hammerfest list review, we had a snazzy new UI. We don't have that now, but we will have it for our next stream.
Yep. Unfortunately, Nurglings have gotten into work, so we're just performing a quick exorcism there, try to get them out, and then we'll go ahead and proceed with the game. So we are actually in the lair of the man, the myth, the legend himself, Matt Robisch. He has invited us into his home, and we have taken over, built monuments to the glory that is destruction, and we're currently trying to get the games going.
Yeah, this is one of our bi-monthly streams, doing a little bit of practice for Hammerfest because Mr. Brian Faber is actually going to be co-hosting with me at Hammerfest with a special guest.
It's true. I have strangled all my other support grots and risen to the rank of head pit grot, and now I'm going to be basically declaring out my bellows of victory across the land at Hammerfest. Watching some really interesting people play, some interesting games. So I think we'll see some good stuff.
Somebody do the
As with anything, we do, of course, apologize for the technical difficulties that we are facing. We're just working through a couple kinks before we get the game and get that going. The battle plan is close to the chest, so we are, of course, have a little of an odd L-shaped deployment. There's going to be 6 objectives. 1 objective for each round will be the alpha objective, scoring additional points. That should be, of course, interesting there.
And we're back.
All right, all Nurglings have been exercised from the realm of Garan, and we are back.
All right, now we're gonna get our tree lord, Mr. Robisch, to point out his places of power, if he could. Those are the places of power, which do something for Sylvaneth. I will figure that out.
So places of power, that is going to be overgrown, so they will count as it's allowed him to heal 1 wound located at each Sylvaneth unit that is wholly within 9 inches of an overgrown terrain feature. And that basically these are going to count as additional pieces of terrain for him. So they're going to count somewhat as the Awakened Wildwoods. That's going to allow him to use some of his abilities that are going to be very crucial to Sylvaneth. They really want to play the terrain game, and they need to maintain a certain distance from those places of power or Awakened Wildwoods at all times.
All right, so players just doing the roll-off here. Who took turn 1? We are finding that out right now, I believe.
So interesting note, Matt opted to choose the places of power that are going to be in his deployment zone. That's going to definitely give him a nice little stronghold to build off on, since he is going to assume that the pigs are going to come straight into him. So this allows him to play a little more cagey, a little more defensive, make sure he has that 6+ ward save to go with those Kurnoth hunters.
Yeah, and for his Heartwood, basically, essentially priority targets, he chose the Maw Crusher, obviously, the 6-man unit of pigs, obviously, and then one of the Ward Chanters. I'm not sure which one. It's probably, if it was me, it would probably be the one with the Get 'em beat, just to deny that 6-inch charge.
Definitely, I think cutting down on the mobility, making sure that those backline support heroes die wherever possible, that's very important. Once you kind of remove the War Chanters from the equation, you really do kind of hamstring the damage potential of those pigs.
Oh, apologies.
Oh, Bandit, did you get bad touch by Sylvaneth at one point?
Do we know who took first one? I think we've had the roll off and players are kind of discussing who's going to take first turn. I think in this case, just because of where the Sylvaneth is deployed, do you think Eli is going to give it away? Do you think his pigs can get across the board into those trees turn 1?
Yes, they are extremely fast. Eli doesn't have a teleport option, but the pigs may not need it.
Yeah, this big unit of 6 down here can definitely get into these hunters right here. It's the other pigs that I'm sort of worried about. Oh, interesting.
So Matt has opted to go second. Eli will be taking the first turn.
Was he given first turn? Eli was given.
So Matt Robisch won the initial party roll-off, and we see Proving Ground and the Alpha target going down at that bottom objective.
This bottom left objective here, Proving Ground and the Alpha objective. I believe from the pit crowd, I believe Matt's reasoning was, since he doesn't have Galatian veterans, making this the Proving Ground can kind of deny it for both of them, essentially.
Essentially, yes. So he does not control them currently with that first turn, so that means that the pigs, unfortunately, will not be able to take that objective. So Matt's is playing the long game, trying to make sure he controls what objectives get taken and which one is going to be important later on.
And once again, this is our kind of bi-monthly stream that we're going to be doing a little bit of practice for Hammerfest. I am teaching Mr. Faber how to kind of run the stream for Hammerfest, because he is going to be running it there on and off. So if we do have a little bit of dead space, I apologize. I am in teaching mode. But we do thank all of y'all for being here. Feel free to interact with us in chat. Let us know where you're from, what you're playing, etc. Eli normally does the spiel, but follow us on YouTube,
All
Twitter,
the socials. Yeah.
YouTube. All the VODs go up on YouTube afterward. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
All the T words.
All the T words. Although YouTube, why? Maybe it's silent T.
It's like a weird, like.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's bent T. TuTube. Don't go to that link.
Do not go to TuTube. Wise words indeed. Thank you, Steven. We do appreciate that. So we're waiting for the game to begin. Definitely some interesting setups right now with this L-place deployment. The pigs are going to be able to be very aggressive right from the get-go. They're going to be able to grab those objectives where they can. And I suspect Eli is going to try to pin in those trees to kind of hinder some movement. Although how well you can pin them, it's to be seen. Sylvaneth are hyper-mobile, lots of tree-based shenanigans, so we'll see what happens. And Lewis, I wish you best luck with that. I think Milo's going to bring his Stormcast, so I know you are a burgeoning follower of Mork as you build up your Cruel Boys. So we, of course, wish you best luck on that.
I was just discussing some abilities here. But I do think you're right, Brian. I do think if Eli gets the chance, he will try to pin essentially all of Matt's army into that corner. Just because Matt doesn't have very many units, so if he can pin him down in combat, Matt won't have anything to take objectives. They'll just be kind of stuck.
The trick is that with that strike and fade, it's very difficult to actually pin in Sylvaneth.
Yep, we have the handshake.
So we have the handshake and the game begins. So they switch from friends to mortal enemies as we see the dice start coming out. We'll see Eli move up them pigs very fast here very soon. So it looks like he's got 2 command points initial as he's going first. And looks like he gained another one with the fungoid special ability. So that'll be definitely useful for him later on, as he basically is going to need to feed those command points to those pigs.
Yeah, the Maw Crusher does have an ability where he can, I forget the name of it, but essentially he can...
Bellowing Tyrant.
Bellowing Tyrant, yes, Bellowing Tyrant.
So something on those lines. That may not be the actual name, but basically what it does is allows him to basically make efficient use of those command points. He's able to basically spend the same command point on 3 different units.
Yeah, which there's one primary ability you're wanting to use with that, right? It's the run and charge, or
so the Mighty Destroyer is going to be the main use for that.
Wow, going with Desecrate Their Lands as the battle tactic?
Interesting. So Eli picks up his heroic leadership. Matt fails, so we'll see an additional command point come down, I'm assuming.
And I believe it was Desecrate Their Lands on this.
Eli going for those easy early points.
You're like casting Mystic Shield likely. I'm not sure on what target, but if it was me, it would be on the Maw Crusher. Wow, interesting.
So that definitely signals something interesting with Mystic Shield on that Maw Crusher. It's he's going to end up being very aggressive with them. I expect he's going to try to hit some sort of tree person at some point very quickly, very soon.
Oh, fascinating. Oh, because of the weird deployment zones, Eli can actually choose Desecrate Their Lands on the bottom right objective, or a piece of terrain instead, which that is a gimme for him. It means he cannot get those pigs up into those Kurnoth Hunters, but he might just be looking to score points off objectives here.
So, C-Zombie, I think that's definitely a great point. Being able to be very efficient with those command points, which Ironjawz are typically very hungry for, is going to be very important.
And for the VOD, the comment Brian was reacting to was, I think it's better when you use it to redeploy or all out anything or to inspire 3 different units.
The idea is that having that Maw Crusher there is going to give him a lot of flexibility. He can also peer it off of the Mega Boss himself, so he has a lot of flexibility with those command points. He's able to use them very efficiently as he needs to make sure that he gets where he needs to be, or gets that big to hit that he needs, or whatever else he needs throughout there. So definitely the all-outs very important to basically make sure that those are going army-wide. And making sure you get the movement shenanigans that it needs to be able to engage these trees.
We are, it did come through. We are getting the Mighty Destroyers. Oh, Violent Fury down on the 6-man unit of pigs and the Maw Crusher. Is this the 6-man unit of pigs right here instead of on the right there or the left there?
It looks like it might be.
Oh, interesting. So the 6-man unit of pigs is right in front of the Maw Crusher. So Violent Fury on the 6-man pigs and the Maw Crusher right now. And I believe that's the +1 damage?
That is the +1 damage, so they're hitting very hard. We're seeing damage 2 on the pigs, and then just massive damage potential for the Maw Crusher.
And Bandit bullshit. Yes, we do have Madden drawing on screen tech from our lovely tech grot, Mr. Miller. Current GHB boards and deployments are very long, and even with Mighty Destroyers, it's really difficult to get an enemy on turn 1. You have to play KG and try to set up a useful alpha. Thoughts?
Yes, it's still about an 18-inch deployment. Matt has, of course, deployed a little further out. It can be very risky to go in turn 1 with Ironjawz. It looks like Eli is opting to play a more KG play style and hoping for that eventual double turn. It can be a big risk since every unit of Pig, say, loses a massive drop in his damage potential overall. But I do agree with that. And definitely the current GHB can be very difficult to get in those first turn combats. And get those alpha strikes as we are used to seeing in the previous GHB. An interesting point too with the Ironjawz, I think it is very important to make sure that you are hitting everything that you can as soon as you can, but also making sure that you're hitting with that closed fist. So you don't just want to go into 1 or 2 units. You definitely want to make sure that you are opting to hit with multiple units, so that way you can take use of their other extremely useful army ability, the smashing and bashing. So that means that as he kills those units, he's going to be able to go with other units to really help control the flow of the game itself. We see Eli taking a slow, methodical approach. He's making a big porcine wall for those trees to try to cut through. Looks like he's towing in on those objectives, taking what he can, just careful movements. And then I assume that he's going to hand off the turn over to Matt, and we'll see what happens from there.
And these Kurnoth hunters are kind of split down the middle. 6-man are the sides, so it's all melee. 2, 3-man. He does have the range. He does have that block of melee.
Yes, he does. And one point to bring out here is that Eli is being very careful with how he moves from that terrain. Since we do have board-wide mystical, he's going to make use of that 6+ ward where he can to make those pigs a little bit more hardier than we normally would see. So he is expecting to weather some damage as we move into turn 2, once he finishes up his initial movements. And he should, with the mass and the amount of wounds the pigs have, he should be able to weather most of the damage that Matt is able to throw out at him and then as he has the healing beat, he may be able to heal that damage back. So we'll see what happens.
Wow, bottom of one already.
Yep. As we were kind of watching, Eli definitely took a cautious approach, making sure he's getting in position for a big turn 2. So he basically just moved up, held objectives, took what he needed to, really basically clogging up lanes, preventing the Sylvaneth from really going wherever they want to go. Now there's only 1 or 2 avenues where they can actually move in order to make the game effective. So we are just updating the scores here in just a moment. So 5-0, so Eli did score that Desecrate. He also scored the Hold 1, Hold 2, and the Hold More. So we are currently 5-0. And we are now bottom of 1, and Matt's going to go ahead and start doing his opening moves.
Yeah. Yeah, one downside of giving Eli the turn is he gets that really easy 5-point turn. All he has to do is move up on objectives, take that really easy Desecrate just because of how the terrain is laid out. So it's an easy 5-point turn for Eli, and he gets to set up for next turn to try and get first turn next turn.
It's really an interesting game of footsie because the trees also want to be able to go into those pigs where possible, really focus on a flank. So them getting closer is beneficial to Matt. It's also Matt being the ever thinking, ever calculating man that he is looking to avoid getting a possible double turn. So
Matt flying through his command phase, getting Verdant Blessing cast on a 10, which I believe does have an extra effect.
Right, so a Verdant Blessing is a very important spell to Sylvaneth that's allowed them to set up another Awakened Wildwood terrain in the within the battle. Make sure that they're able to make consistent use of their army-wide battle traits.
Matt going with Against the Odds with the Kurnoth Hunters here in the back behind Alariel.
I think it's a good choice. I like Against the Odds as a first turn battle tactic. It's a very good one to have. It's very aggressive and makes sure that he's able to score those 5 battle tactics that you want throughout the game.
Yeah, and Matt doing his Sylvaneth thing, putting those trees down. That gives his units cover. You can teleport between them, a whole host of different buffs.
Yeah, the Awakened Wildwood's very annoying. He can awaken them. They can do mortals to those pigs. It also is going to give him access to his Walk the Hidden Paths. That's a teleport, along with this Strike and Fade, which allows him to teleport away from combat. So it's very important for the army as a whole to set up those trees in a place that's going to be beneficial to him. That's his ward save. That's his movement. It's very, very important for him.
And he can teleport between those, correct? And with the new book?
Yes, so there is 2 available teleports, 1 out of combat, 1 in combat. So Walk the Hidden Paths allows him to teleport and put himself within those trees, whereas the Strike and Fade allows him, when he attacks, to basically teleport out of combat.
Now, can he teleport and then charge out of the trees? Or does it count as his movement?
So it is going to be at the end of your movement phase, the teleports, that is going to prevent him from moving again. But it's still, being able to access that teleportation is great movement tags.
Are they using the terrain rules? We're actually using the Hammerfest terrain rules, so everything is mystical.
Oh, we see a big miscast coming out there. And 3 mortal wounds.
Wow, Alariel miscast on the Spite Form Hive, which I did want to point out that he won't have it this turn, obviously, because he just miscast it. But it does give his units some extra movement and some extra rend if they're near it. So it hurts a little bit that he doesn't get that just for that extra rend, but... Wow, Alariel takes 3 damage from the miscast, but then just heals 3 right off the bat with her abilities anyway, so...
Yeah, Alariel, definitely it's hard to make a damage stick to her. She has excellent healing potential. And to answer your question, Irish Warlord, mystical terrain allows him, as long as he within an inch of that terrain, allows him to gain a 6+ ward save, which is very, very important. for models within.
Yeah, Alariel's healing. Yeah, +1 to chanting as well. So. Yeah, so Houston is obviously biased for Seraphon, just giving them an all mystical terrain, which is bullshit. But moving on, Alariel heals what, 2d6 in the hero phase?
She does. So 2d6 in the hero phase, every hero phase. Well, her hero phase, my mistake. So she's definitely very hard to put damage on and keep it on. And we see that as a kind of a theme throughout the army, right? There's lots of healing potential, lots of healing that makes sense for an army coming from Garan. Right? They're the realm of life, and they show it.
Yeah, Alariel also on her top bracket having a gargantuan 16-inch move, which we are seeing right now as he gets outside of 3 of those pigs.
Absolutely. So we are probably going to see a big charge from Alariel here in a moment. She does lots of damage. Those pigs are probably in a little bit of trouble. But we'll see what happens.
A big, very short charge. Don't forget the Revenant's command trait. I'm checking to see exactly what it is. I think I know what it is, but I don't want to sound dumb on stream again. Which, it's kind of my thing, so it shouldn't bother me, but... Wow. Okay, yeah, yeah, that's what I thought it was. +1 to attacks for a friendly Sylvaneth unit, which I believe he can pick Alariel as she's a Sylvaneth unit.
He can pick Alariel. He can pick the Carnathi Hunters. Like, it's a massive boost to their damage potential.
And I believe the alpha objective is going to be down over here.
Yes, so we are using that big old shiny token there. That gold token indicates the alpha objective.
Big shiny thing.
We're simple folk. We are destruction players. You may play order, but I see you, Steven. You're a destruction player at heart.
Yeah, but it's a different kind of destruction. You're part of the Grand Alliance, and I just enjoy
You just enjoy watching people just cry into their dice.
Yeah. I'll have you know, Brian, that I am an Auric player now.
You are an Auric player. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, it's I'm paying homage to the great and wonderful Texas Master Tom Guan himself. And eventually, soon, within the next month, I will have my 14 Big Stabas list.
14 Big Stabas. Fantastic. So, I mean, that is definitely a tough list. So, we've seen that pop up. Tom Guan himself is a master with it. Definitely using those Big Stabas as a scalpa.
Yeah, if I've learned anything from Spencer, to win, what you do is you just take whatever the top players are playing, and you just play that.
Yeah, but definitely a winning strategy there. Find out what lists are good and just play those.
Yeah. Yeah, Eli saying just look up whatever Gavin played recently, and we've already discussed Spencer, so it's fine.
Oh, and we see the Solemn Pharaoh bring in a big tree man.
That's kind of what I thought he was gonna do, and just looking at the summon list and seeing kind of what his list does, it sort of makes sense. He would just bring in another big, hard to remove unit. Just smack that slaps.
Yeah, he doesn't want to bring any chaff to this unit. He knows that those pigs are very good at clearing chaff. So by bringing a tree man, he's just basically brought in an anvil. He's going to throw in front of the pigs and slow him down. That's going to give him a little more room to work with the Carnathi Hunters. Let him get those size into place where they can really do some damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matt kind of moving up the one side of the board here, going after those 3-man pig units, maybe to try to take Eli off that objective, but also just to remove damage from the board. He can't really take on Eli's entire army at once, but if he can take out both of those 2-man units of pigs without getting much damage on the crackback, he'll be in a much better position.
Absolutely, and being able to sprout that damage on multiple units seems like a bad call, but remember, Ironjawz, not great leadership, so he's going to force those leadership saves on the Battle Shock, and may be able to remove additional pigs because of it. 3-mans are generally safe, but being a dice game, you may see one run off.
Mm-hmm. And I think Eli has those 4 command points, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Gorgrunters can give themselves command abilities.
They can.
They do have a unit champion, correct?
Yes, so they do have a unit champion, so they're able to issue and receive commands to themselves. Not typically the most efficient path, as you want to see that go from the Mega Boss himself.
Yeah, so you can get those the three at a time. And I also did want to point out that the Mega Boss with Destroyer is sitting down here behind these pigs. So I've seen a lot of instances where someone is playing against an all pigs list and they forget about that Mega Boss and he just comes in and wreck shot.
You don't want to forget about that Mega Boss. He does have the Destroyer artifact, and that can do serious damage that even Alariel would be concerned about.
Yeah, Czom and Bandit Bullshit both bring up excellent points. The Tree Man that Alariel just gets to summon for free, which is like 200 and something points, is pretty dangerous, especially with the Strike and Fade. He has a Tree Lord is shooting into pigs right now, but he has a roar that makes people fight last, and he has a weapon that says, "Hey, you don't get to pile in." So if he can get in on kind of one edge of a pig unit and fight them like that, it turns off a lot of their damage.
Absolutely.
He's got a shooting attack.
The Treeman's great support units. They do a lot of damage, and they tend to have a lot of good utility that they Sylvaneth really need here, because Ironjawz going into you is going to hurt. 260
points just for free.
260 points, and they don't slash his combat either. Those Impaling Talons, 3 damage, -2 rend. That's going to remove most of the actual armor on those pigs.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is with the Loyal Summoning, you don't have to build up, unlike Chaos or Seraphon, you don't have to build up any points. You don't have to roll any dice. You just get it for free whenever you want it. It's crazy.
Gotta love older summoning.
Spencer pointing out that both Mega Bosses are totems. Oh, that's a good point, actually. 18-inch command abilities from the totem. Interesting. This has been Fun Facts with Big Papa Spencer.
Spencer taking the big deep dive into Ironjawz in the past, although we're seeing him stray more towards the path of chaos with his new beast list. But he just came out and pointed over to us that both Mega Bosses are indeed totems. That's important in terms of casting those command points efficiently. That's an 18-inch command range that he can basically issue those commands to those pigs. That's going to help benefit him in the long term.
Alariel is a 900-point unit. She ought to do some cool shit. Summoning a free 260-point unit helps mitigate that cost. That is true, but I've been playing Age of Sigmar for like 4 years now, and I'm used to Alariel just being really bad. So this is jarring for me. She is gonna pick up all those pigs.
And see, Zombie, to your point, I do think Alariel, she does work. She's a great unit in this new book. She does a lot of damage.
Wow, four damage off the Tree Lord in the shooting phase.
Yeah, so that's actually this whole army. So Alariel shooting the 2 Kurnoth with great bows and the Tree Lord only dealing 4 damage to the pigs. The power of the wall is strong for the Ironjawz right now.
Wow. Wait, that wasn't just a Tree Lord? That's the entire army for shooting
Yes, Tex Wargamer. We, after Kragnos has brought back, we saw, so during the Broken Realms, we saw Alariel enact a Rite of Life to try to banish back the Necroquake, and we see, as a result, that Kragnos awakening, and we're still seeing reverberations of that action and the consequences therein happen in the game. So definitely a great lore point. Always love talking lore. So we see Alariel make a big 3-inch charge into those pigs.
Yeah, very, very dangerous 3-inch charge. It would have been really bad if he would have failed that there.
It would. Those double ones would have been real bad right there. Would have left her wide open. But I think Matt was able to roll high enough to get him in, and now we're seeing additional charges move in. So did make that charge and then reroll that with a command point. And unfortunately, Tree Lord will not be joining Lariel in glorious combat.
Yeah, that. In the roar here, not getting the
No roar.
Yeah, that shooting faith hurts a little bit for Tree Boys. Getting 4 damage off not only a Tree Lord but 2 units of hunters with great bows. It's not great.
And both pigs receive all-out defense from the Mega Boss, making good use of those command abilities and the efficiency that is the War Boss.
Interesting. Are these coming from the Mega Boss, not the
From the
Maw
Mega
Crusher.
Boss.
Okay, coming from the Mega Boss, not the Maw Crusher.
The Mega Boss on foot. Issue those commands and making good use of that with the pigs.
This is a good point. Will Alariel do Strike and Fade?
We definitely think it's going to be a possibility. We'll see if she wants to take. So we're watching the beetle attack. We're going to start seeing some pigs being lifted, assuming that Levi can't make a couple important saves.
At least one of those 3-man pig units is getting pulled off the table. Although with the saves that Eli made in the recent shooting phase, there's a chance they might not.
We just saw 5 damage from the beetle's attacks going into the pigs. That lifts 1 pig and damages the other for 1. And we're seeing some saves.
Wow,
made a couple good saves.
Just one attack going, one 5 damage attack going through on those pigs. Wow.
Yeah, so 1 pig dead. So that's interesting.
Yep, obviously striking and fading is kind of the Sylvaneth's whole shtick, but just 1 pig picked up from an entire Alariel attack sequence.
Definitely proving my point that I made earlier. The pigs, they are big and meaty, so they held where they needed to. The resilience of Ironjawz really paid off. Not getting that roar definitely hurt Alariel's damage potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those pigs on the bottom are getting inspiring presence, just to make sure that they don't run away with their incredibly low bravery.
Yeah, so Alariel did her damage, got out, and basically is now sitting safely behind some Kurnoth hunters, multiple layers of defense.
Matt scoring 4 points that turn. What's Matt's battle that round?
So Matt scores 4 points. He didn't get he didn't get his battle tactic, but he did score 1. He scored 2, and he scored 1 more than his opponent, along with doesn't hold more. Scored 2. So he's just.
Yeah, so going into top of 2, Eli did win the roll-off, and he is going to take it, which honestly there's no reason he shouldn't. Sylvaneth just had an incredibly lackluster turn, which puts Eli in a really strong position here just to get his pigs in basically wherever he wants to go, into the entire Sylvaneth army, essentially.
Yep, so we see also the an important fact here. We see the proving ground and the alpha objective go down on that top center objective. That's to keep that pretty safe from pigs and basically prevent Eli from scoring any additional points this turn, as he has no Galatian veterans. But we should see a couple pigs get into combat this turn. We'll see if they can't clear out some of those trees. He's got a couple, like we've seen, not 1, not 2, but 3 speed bumps in the way of the Mega Boss and Alariel. So definitely was going to see him go through some speed bumps. So we definitely see a couple initial measurings, just kind of seeing where everything is. We're going to see some movements here in just a moment.
Yeah, waiting to see what the battle tactic is here for Eli, but definitely doing some measurements to see what charges are possible here.
Yeah, turn 2, very important turn. Eli's going to make sure that he chooses a battle tactic that he's going to be able to achieve and to kind of widen that score gap that we're seeing between him and Matt.
Yeah, so Eli going with against the odds with the yellow pigs over here. Did borrow these pigs from another player, so did not paint them himself. So we'll see if that bad juju actually impacts their ability to do damage.
It is my experience that Eli leads kind of a blessed life in Warhammer. He's very known for rolling 6s when he shouldn't, so I think he'll be okay. Ooh, miscast on the fungoid with Mystic Shield and takes 2 mortal wounds. We'll see if he saves any. Takes 1, manages to save 1 of those on him. So we're seeing 2 miscasts back to back with these casts. So the magic is very turbulent in this particular game. Yes, Irish Warlord, rolling 6s is a great strategy. Just make sure you are avoiding rolling 6s for any sort of battle shock phase. That will definitely kick you right in the pants.
Not getting the fixin' beat, I'm assuming, on the only damage unit he has over here down in the corner. I am genuinely terrible at this, Spencer. Thankfully, Brian is here to save me. Because unlike me, Brian actually knows how to play the game.
I muddle through, right? I do win more than I lose, but hey, I play Giants, so what can I say?
Or play any Order army so that bravery never matters. Exactly. I'm a Stormcast, but no one cares about Seraphon, Spencer. Quit your bitching, lizard boy.
So Spencer is insisting that we tell you that Kola Seraphon have garbage leadership.
And they get 0 bonuses.
0 bonuses, but
Good.
does it really matter if you have Bravery 5 skinks if they just either die or just muddle up the board? I don't think it matters.
Because nobody likes Seraphon, Spencer, and you should feel bad for playing them.
You try recovery on a Bravery 6 scheme sheet. Stay up.
Spencer is currently limiting heroic recovery on a Bravery 6 Skink Chief and how difficult it is for his entire army, Seraphon being one of the top armies in the last 2 years.
Honestly, if you just play Stormcast, like I play Stormcast, I've been playing for 4 years, I still have no idea how the bravery phase even works.
Do you play Stormcast or do you just play Stormcast Heroes? I think there's a big difference between that.
Yes. No, you don't reinforce your Stormcast units. Never reinforce, because then you have to deal with the brain dead coherency rules.
Protectors. You should see protectors shooting.
So we're watching the pigs move up. They're being very aggressive once again, trying to position themselves in a way that they can control the terrain, control the field, and really start pinning in those Sylvaneth. We're seeing Eli take a more slow, methodical approach, which I think is smart. He's able to pin in those trees and kind of prevent where they want to go. It can be very good for him, but he's going to have to get into combat very soon in order to do some damage to those trees, prevent them from having it all their own way.
Yeah, we're still in that movement phase after more than 30 seconds. As a Smoothbane Destruction player, this must be very difficult for Eli to actually kind of think about where he wants to put those units. It's because you're slacking.
So we're seeing Eli shuffle around and kind of decide where he wants to go.
It's fine.
Irish Warlord does mention that he will help you paint those 320 zombies that you have working your backfield. So definitely some like a pet project of the Weirdnobz stream is these 320 zombies to put people into Hordy jail. So for those you don't know, Steven hates the game and hates you for playing a strong list. So he has come up with a way to punish people by bringing 320 zombies, which takes an inordinate amount of time to move and play, and really is just looking to build a list where you can just crush your spirit.
You know what? You know what, Brian? My 320 zombies, I bet my turn would still be shorter than Spencer's.
So absolutely, shots fired there against Spencer, as we kind of see that coming up. No, it's not really slow play as much as just it takes time to basically bring up 320 zombies, and it does one thing really well, and that's force you off objectives. So it's kind of an interesting list. We've seen that played by top players, and Steven decided, hey, he just wants to bring zombies. It's not in any way.
Have we seen top players play zombies?
We have at the last, what was it? Lone Star GT.
How many zombies?
Not as many as 320.
Well, then that's not the same list now, is it?
It's
Brian?
not the same list.
Moving up these pigs, but I'm not 100% sure where he's gonna go. I guess he's sending he has a 3-inch stick here, so he's probably sending a bunch into this tree lord. But other than that, is he just kind of sitting back and holding objectives? That's not very orky. We've peer pressured Spencer into making bad decisions before. We can probably peer pressure Eli into making bad decisions as well.
Absolutely, we can definitely do a little peer pressure. I'm gonna look at you right at you, Eli, and tell you, here we go, here we go.
He would say Basham Lads, but he failed that.
Oh, we would say bash him lads, but he failed to cast that spell. Unfortunate for sure. That's what you get when you have a big brain such as a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher trying to cast spells.
There's a 12-inch stick here.
No, bandit bullshit. We do not need to get him that banner SCE list. That is a terrible idea.
If anybody has any Vexilers, the old ones, not the new ones, for sale, new on sprue, hit me up.
I'm hearing from the background that we should ban bandit bullshit for his crimes.
I'll pay retail for them. Hit me up. So there's a 12-inch stick here. Do these yellow pigs have the 3d6-inch charge, you think? I don't know where they would have got it from.
So if they would have got the 3-6 charge, it would have come from the War Chanter, which is tucked in right behind that red terrain piece.
Ooh. Oh, okay. So yeah, they could have the Mighty Destroyers? No. 3d6 charge is...
Get them beat.
Crap. I was going to get there eventually, Brian.
It's a lot of orc terms, I know.
I do really want to run that list, the Meteor Banner list. I think it's hilarious.
It's definitely something, that's for sure. I think it's funny at heart, but it would be something I would hate to play against.
Yeah, so that damage 2-man unit of Gorgrunt is going into the Tree Lord. Tree Lord unleashing hell with its ranged attack, just for that little bit of extra damage. Oh, hey Spencer, it's not Harrison.
Oh, bandit bullshit is Joe, by the way. Yes, Lewis, someone is running a nasty 6X list. It is a list that basically is wanting to go first. Unlike most lists that want to go second, this list wants to go first because it's able to throw basically an absurd amount of D3 damage at you right in the beginning and alpha strike you. It's looking to remove support heroes, damage important units. And it's a list that will either win very well or just get basically blast off the board. But along with 6X lures, you have a lot of fulminators, which do incredible amounts of damage. It's a pretty interesting list, just as from a list design perspective. But spamming those types of units not going to win you any friends.
Isn't someone running it at Hammerfest? I'm not 100% sure, but speaking of Hammerfest, we will be there. Me and Brian will be streaming at different points along with a special guest, if we can bag him. There will also be a charity raffle at Hammerfest for the Charge Syndrome Foundation, I believe. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I think it's really important. The Harambe apes themselves have decided that, with their particular GT, certain guys keep winning points. They don't need more stuff. So as a community, they are, instead of offering all of their prize support off to benefit this charity. So if you're down there, definitely buy some raffle tickets. I think we're going to work on seeing if they can get some digital tickets as well. So if you're out there watching some of the games, you can still basically take part in the raffle and generate a very important, basically help support a very important charity.
Well, are we out of the charge range? Are we into combat now?
Yes.
Wow. 4 damage on the tree lord. Wow, seeing some really low damage phases here. He only got the one charge. The damage 2-man unit of Gorgrunt is doing a pile-in. Yeah, I thought he was about to pick it up because he already attacked for a strike and fade, but no, he's just doing a pile-in to attack back into the Gorgrunters here.
So, Lewis, the charge the foundation that they're supporting helps support children who are affected by charge syndrome that has basically children with birth defects. So helping out the kids definitely is something that can definitely, we can all get behind. I think it's very important. I've seen Matt roll a lot of sixes somewhere. But definitely going back to the charity, it's a good one. Definitely want to support that where we can, give back to our community.
Tree Lord just doing some damage here. See if he can pick up that unit of Gorgrunters in the middle. Onto the last attack profile. See if he can get the last 2 damage he needs. No. Oh, does go through for 3 damage. Yep.
That lists that unit of pigs.
Lists that unit of pigs and leaves that Tree Lord free to do whatever it wants. As, Tree Lords ought to do. This is not how this game is going to go from what I thought at the beginning. Yeah, another 5 points for Eli. Hold 1, hold 2, hold more, and getting his battle tactic.
Yep, so easy points for Eli, getting those against the odds. He's getting a fairly early lead against Matt. Not doing too much in the combat front, but really it looks like his game plan here is to basically move up, control the board, and force Sylvaneth back for a big charge. So it looks like he's expecting to at least some point get a double turn and just playing that long game. So big brain plays from our Ironjawz player.
Yeah, not how I expected this game to go. Just not usually how I see Ironjawz played, but Eli is kind of an up and comer in the scene, one of the top 10 players in the state. So seeing him actually play Ironjawz as a smart person is interesting.
Yeah, I think he's definitely taking some lessons he learned with his other armies with Seraphon. He's taking that slow play. He knows he's got the wound potential and the ability to basically shrug off some damage as long as he's staying within those terrain pieces can definitely benefit him. And it looks like he's really trying to strangle out those trees.
Yeah, he's using his screening potential and then just the number of bodies he has to control the board and say, hey, if you want these, you're going to have to come and take them off me.
which it's not easy by any means. I think once we start seeing those Scythe Kurnoths go into combat, we start seeing pigs get lifted. But as we saw in the last phase, like Sylvaneth absolutely can just hit the brick wall that is the pork, the army of Eli.
Oh, going into bottom of 2 here.
So we see Matt pick up a particular interesting battle tactic. He opted to go with one of the Sylvaneth ones, balance the cycle, and he's basically going to have to kill a unit of pigs that are within that wildwood. So the ones right in the bottom left-hand corner, those are marked for death. So he completes his attack as long as they're destroyed by a unit within the Sylvaneth army, and basically get that going for him.
Within 3 inches of a wildwood. Within 3 inches of a wildwood, correct, Brian?
Small correction, he did not choose balance cycle. He actually chose eradicate trespassers. It's pick one enemy unit within 6 inches of the awakened wildwood and complete that during the turn. So just needs to kill those pigs, score extra points. That's something he already wants to do, so it's an easy battle tactic. Move forward. So magic proving somewhat ineffective this game. The winds of magic are definitely blowing weak on this particular game.
Yeah, both kind of failing everything. Does Eli really have magic, or is it more the power of interpretive dance?
So I mean, there's definitely some gyrating going on top of that Maw Crusher, but I mean, the Mega Boss is a master magic. Plus, you have that Fungoid, but we saw 2 back-to-back miscasts from both players, and we're just not seeing very effective use of magic, which, as in the terms of Sylvaneth, can be very, very problematic. So Master Magic D-spell coming from the Mega Boss, stopping a very important spell. So the Power Wall definitely proving to be too formidable for tree magic.
Yeah, Matt actually has some not essential spells, but some very nice to have spells and endless spells that he would really like to get off. It's just not happening for him this game. Either he's failing the actual cast rolls, or they're just getting unbound.
Absolutely, and that Spy Storm Hive can prove to be very, very important, especially when you're coming at an army as basically meaty and tough as those Ironjawz. It can act as a blocking piece, support those trees, which when you're playing an army as lead as this, definitely you want to make use of all your tools where possible.
Yeah, Matt seems to be rolling quite poorly overall today. Honestly, yeah, both of them are not rolling great, except for Eli's saves, allegedly.
So we're seeing the Scythes emerge from the safety of the Awakened Wildwood, and they're setting up in position to really punish some pigs.
Yeah, the Gore Grunters have a 4-up save.
A 4-up save, so not a great save. We're going to see those Scythes basically blow right through that with our 3 rend.
Yeah, and normally what Matt wants to be doing here is getting the what's it called, the Spite Swarm Hive off to give them extra movement, but also maybe give the Scythe an extra rend. Have some 4 rend attack. That would be crazy.
Yeah, 4 rend size stops any sort of armor that the pigs can put on. But I think at this point, he's just going to go straight into them. We may see some pigs lifted, or see, of course, that strike and fade make use to, or may just hang out and just take that objective. And Matt's checking some measurements, trying to see where the massive pie plate that is Alariel can go. Checking those measurements for me, making big moves, as you can see. And we see Alariel successfully screened out with those pigs. So definitely going to be tough for him. He can't go where he was previously due to the just sheer size of Alariel's base.
Did you know that there's a Brazilian pizza buffet that isn't called Boston, where it's like a gaucho style, that you sit down and they come and they bring you, there's like 17 different pizzas that they'll bring.
So Spencer is talking some craziness, telling us about a Brazilian-style gaucho pizza. Jeff, just trigger warning here, close your ears. We're about to talk something that is what you consider definitely not pizza.
Yeah, we're going to talk about pizza, but you're a pizza snob, so if you could just mute for a little bit, that'd be great. Thanks.
So we see a redeploy from the Gorgruntas. They don't want to make an easy charge for Lariel, so they opt to spend the command point and just move back.
Yeah, because the first time Alariel attacked into pigs was abnormal, and she is very capable of picking up a unit of pigs by herself.
So back to the important topic of pizza. So Spencer is telling us about a pizza place they recently went to. It's a Brazilian-style gaucho pizza. They have 17 different types, and they just bring you pizza.
Do they have a chocolate chip pizza? They have a Nutella pizza. Oh, that sounds pretty good too.
So Spencer, tell us more about this pizza place. What sort of pizza do they have?
They're small, like 14-inch. It's kind of a cross between like Neapolitan and something like, it's a little bit different dough, but it's all relatively good. They have an elote pizza that's phenomenal. They have a sopressata with honey.
Joe asking the important questions. Do they have pineapple? Being that it's a Brazilian place, I think the greater question is, do they have a picanha pizza? They do have picanha pizza. That's meh? Mid. So he says mid.
That's the new slang. That's Gen Z talk about it.
So Spencer with the Gen Z talk, confusing us older knobs.
Yeah, try to be hip with the cool kids. Tree Lord also moving in? Is this still the movement phase? Alariel teleports in the movement. Yeah.
So I believe Alariel just moved. She has...
with her, yeah, I forgot. 16-inch movement.
Yes, so she's very fast.
That is ludicrous.
It may not look if that beetle does indeed have flying and can move wherever it really wants to. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So, Bandit, the Sylvaneth, extremely mobile. It's one of the key things that we see at their army. They have incredible movement. If you can put damage on them and hit them really hard, they typically crumble. And as a result of that, they have adopted a really interesting guerrilla-style play. And we're seeing us move into the shooting phase. Some big shots coming in. Ooh, a couple. We're seeing 3 Mac, and we're going to see a couple saves maybe. Save 2, took 1.
Hopefully Sylvaneth can do a little bit more in their shooting phase this turn with their 2 units of Great Bow Kurnoth Hunters.
Well, it's interesting. The Kurnoth Great Bows, they're more of a support unit. We see them shoot off some damage, but they're really, especially in this list, they're there to basically clog up lanes, just provide additional support. So far, we've seen those 2 Great Bows fire. We've seen 2 hits go through. So Eli is opting to take the damage on his leader, so it's still live. And we finally see a couple hits take place and stick, so we're seeing a couple pigs get moved. We're seeing the spear go towards the war chanter. We're gonna see if he gets removed. It's a hit. Does not wound. So sad Matt there was unable to spear a unlucky war chanter.
Yeah, a lot like Yndrasta's spear. 2s and 2s somehow only hitting 25% of the time. I think of the 100 times I've used Yndrasta's spear, I've hit with it maybe 5 times.
That's overestimating how many games you played. Only they could hear me.
And we see Alariel move. Big charge comes in, slaps those pigs.
Yeah, making that charge into that unit of 2 pigs right there, which is extremely important because that is Matt's battle tactic. Going to see if the Tree Lord can also make it in here. Wow, getting a big 8 on that tree. Oh no, these are the scythe hunters at the top going into Spencer's pigs.
So we're seeing those 2 3-man units. They look to be in big trouble. As you see, Lariel and the Scythe both make their charges and are gearing up for a big turn 2. We are not in the realm of Gorkum work. We are actually in the secret citadel of Matt Robisch. So he has led us into his inner sanctum, and we are currently cribbing the secrets as we speak, while he is distracted playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, Tree Lord more than enough to make it into that unit of pigs.
Yeah, those unit of pigs definitely in trouble.
Guaranteeing Matt his battle tactic unless they continue to both roll like they have been rolling.
Absolutely. You will also notice that Tree Lord is staying well away from that Mega Boss.
Yeah, he does not want to bring that Mega Boss into combat because the Mega Boss will stomp in, pop destroyers, and wipe the Tree Lord on the board. Oh, interesting.
He's still damaged too, but it is a flash you have to be aware of this Ironjawz.
Spencer pointing out that the destroyers, the wording still states it has to be popped at the start of combat. So you can't just pop destroyers in the middle of combat. So if Eli doesn't pop destroyers, Sylvaneth can get in, poke at him, and then strike and fade away. Just Just waiting to see if Alariel can kill one damaged pig here. With how Matt's been rolling, I'm suspect.
I suspect that either the Tree Lord or Lariel is going to take that pig out back and beat it with a switch.
So no one at Wonko's. Actually, there's probably a fair few people at Wonko's.
Yeah, Wonko's traditionally, we don't see people show up till about 12 or 1. They open at 11, but typically we don't see people show up until about 12.
I get there at 11 when I go on Sundays. I just, haven't been in 2 months.
It's true, Doug. Lariel is your grandma, and she will beat you mercilessly.
Interesting. Those scythes going into the 6-man.
This makes sense. He wants to deal damage to the big unit, really mitigate some of their damage potential early. With that Stricken Fight, he's going to be able to hit them and then get out for free. And whenever you can, deal the damage you can to the big hammers, you should. But due to pylon restrictions, he is going to have to stay within range of the other unit. So it is a bit risky, but he should get his attacks prior to the pigs and then strike and fade.
Yeah. Ren 3. Although it doesn't really matter because of pigs.
Yes, both are. Yes, both are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I told you all. You may not have heard me.
I heard the ball crush. I didn't hear the All right. There's a battle factor there. I understand. So there'll be 2 of them this way. And
Interesting. Does Alariel or the Tree Lord have impact hits?
Alariel does. She has a special monster action where she can increase her stomp from D3 to D6. That's what we saw happen to those pigs.
Ouch.
So it was a big stomp that took off the initial pig, and now we're going to see the Colonel's hunters attacking the pigs. And unfortunately, like pigs to slaughter, we're going to see some pigs squeal. No 2s from Matt, so all but one of those attacks go through. And then he basically, his bad luck streak continues. It fails to wound on several. We're seeing the damage come through those pigs, and they're going to take that on the mystical save.
D6 is only against 1 wound infantry. That's a good point. Yeah, so this is the majority of those scythes going into that 6-man, kind of in the center of the board there. Wow. 10-6 up for what, 3 damage each? Oh, 2 damage each on the scythes.
So thank you, Joe, for that correction. I do not know Sylvaneth very well. I do suspect that they still ended up getting stomped, which is why we see that other pig get removed.
Those scythes picking up 2 pigs there, and I think we're probably about to see the strike and feed.
Eli rolling 2 6s back to back, fails to roll a third. See that other pig removed, and the mystical saves drop off as they're no longer within 1 inch of that terrain piece. So we see quite a bit of damage come off of those scythes, dropping that 6-man pig down to a 3-man unit, and then striking and fading away to the safety of those awakened wildwoods.
Yeah, this is one of the stronger things in the new Sylvaneth book. You come in, charge, do your attack, strike and fade, then do it all again next round.
Yeah, definitely a huge advantage for Sylvaneth, and being able to basically control the tempo of the battle, move where they want to. Typically, with in order to kind of defeat that, you really want to be very aggressive with Sylvaneth. You want to get up in their face, hit them as hard as you can. But we'll see kind of how that plays out. In the meantime, the Gorgrunta attached to Lariel is going to get his attacks, and then we're probably going to see him picked up.
Yeah, I'm starting to see one of the tech plays with Matt's list here. He doesn't have very many units, and they're fairly tanky. But honestly, they don't take attacks if he doesn't want them to. So he can just pick them up, charge whatever he needs to, do it again and again and again.
Like I said, it is definitely one of the more powerful aspects of Sylvaneth, being able to control the tempo of the battle and pick the fights that you want to go into. And we're seeing the Gorgrunta get his attacks off, and we'll see if he does any damage.
Alariel making her saves there on the attack from the pig. And honestly, even if the damage would have gone through it, it would have been, 2 to 4 damage, I believe.
Yeah, it's pretty easily healed off by Alariel.
Yeah, by the 2d6. Yeah, Alariel doing a big 15 damage to that
15
pig.
damage to that poor pig. We just see
It's dead 3 times over.
Yep, so that pig has been made into sausage, ground up by the power of that beetle.
How many wounds did that Mega Boss have to us?
So we see Matt do some initial damage. She basically came out swinging. Is going to take control of a couple more objectives, evening him up with Eli. That'll help him basically close some of the points gap. And we'll see what he's looking to do from here. He's trying to determine if he wants to move that Tree Lord into the Mega Boss, which can be a pretty big risk if he doesn't actually squash the boss.
Mm-hmm. It can be, but it does lock that boss down, so it can't get into Alariel. And at this point, Eli's lost 6 pigs, and Matt still has his entire army with no damage on it.
The tree lord is piling out to be within 3 to hit him with the 3-inch. If any get through.
Wow, that is
So
upsetting.
Matt using some interesting tech play with the Tree Lord. He has piled in to be within 3 and is now attacking with a 3-inch attack. If any of these attacks go through the War Boss will not be able to pile in and attack. So this is less of a risky play than I initially thought. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is one of my least favorite mechanics in the entire game right here.
What do you mean, Steven? Do most attacks not end up being 3 inches?
It's not that, it's the no pile in that gets me. If I didn't want to play the game, I would have just stayed at home.
So we see the damage go in on the Mega Boss, preventing him from piling in and making his attacks. Therefore, basically pinning him in with the Tree Lord.
No pile-ins? Only 1 unit. Alright, cool. Going into top of turn 3, looks like Matt has won the roll-off, deciding now if he wants to give it to Eli or take it.
So Matt, weighing his decisions on whether or not he can kill the Mega Boss, has decided to take the turn, the top of turn, going to that nasty double, and we'll see what's going to happen here. So Eli definitely wanted to win this top of 3. Failing this one, getting doubled, is going to be very devastating. He's still in a fairly decent position. Things are fairly protected, but with the movement of Alariel, it's going to be tough. And we see the Alpha and the Proving Ground go down for the bottom middle objective. And we're seeing Steven take a breather, having some effects from the no pile in. Definitely one of his least favorite effects in the game. But hey, you know, without that, the Mega Boss would have been able to chew up the Tree Lord. That's what we're seeing with a lot of the 3.0 books now, is kind of control happening with some of these armies. We're seeing high damage along with those control effects prevent armies from doing certain things. Okay, chat. We have a important decision to make: burrito or burger.
Yeah, what are we getting for lunch?
Our fate, our fate of our lunch is in your hands. So please let us know. So pretty overwhelming decision here. Burrito. We should have known. Yeah, cool. I like burritos. Burritos are good.
We were thinking about getting pizza pie, Jeff. Some nice, delicious deep dish pizza. The only real pizza worth eating, honestly.
Hey, that's from Chicago.
And we're seeing Matt take some time. He's being very methodical on what he is choosing for his battle tactics. This is going to be a very important one. And it looks like he has chosen to do barge through. That should be a fairly easy battle tactic with his mobility. He's going to be able to go deep into the enemy territory and score those additional points. And we're seeing Matt try to cast that Spy Storm Hive with the box cars. It's going to pretty much guarantee that that's going to come down. And this gives him a lot of options now.
And we're back. Apologies, everyone. We had a little technical difficulty, but we have returned. Looks like the Kurnoth hunters once again emerging from the wildwoods to go take a crack at some pigs. That tree lord still logged in combat with that mega boss who can't pile in, so he's probably just going to sit there and make sure the mega boss can't actually do anything. Kurnoth hunters moving around, still sitting back with the revenant to give them their +1. The Nerdlings be getting into the audio today. Yeah, apologies about that, but we have returned.
So we're seeing Alariel size up where she move. She definitely wants to get in the high priority target of the Mega Boss. If she can pick him up this turn, this would be a huge blow to Eli's overall strategy.
Yeah, unbracketed, so still 16-inch movement.
Yeah, so we're starting to see the downside of Eli's initial tepidness to basically go full hog into the army. Now that the tempo is kind of swayed more towards Sylvaneth, Larry's able to basically run roughshod over these the Ironjawz.
Yeah, Eli attempting to spread out and cover the entire board, kind of let Matt pick a side and just kind of whittle away at that, and then roll up the rest of the army. Full hog. Yes, pun intended, I'm assuming. Interesting. Not 100% sure what they're measuring for here.
So we're watching Matt really basically figure out what he can do, right? So he's basically positioning his stuff in case things go wrong. So being the ever cautious player that he is, he's moving his Kurnoth to basically act as speed bumps later on.
Interesting.
So when he goes to strike and fade, he's able to hit and basically get back behind them and be perfectly safe. You see a big giant Alariel-sized hole in the back there. She's going to strike and fade and hit back, and that's going to basically mean that when the pigs do go to get revenge, they're only going to be able to hit Kurnoth hunters with bows and not really do any significant damage. Because again, remember that the main damage dealers in Matt's army is going to be those Kurnoth hunters with scythes, along with Alariel. So if you can protect those pieces, his damage stays mostly intact. These are small adjustments just to make sure that the Arch Revenant is able to give the buffs that is needed for those Kurnoth hunters. It's very important. Now we're moving from the movement phase over to the shooting phase. You see the Tree Lord spraying down the Mega Boss with his range attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the really awful things for Eli right now is that Tree Lord has 3-inch attack, so it doesn't have to pile in. It can sit there and punch the Mega Boss all day, and the Mega Boss, if the Tree Lord gets any hits, Mega Boss won't really be able to do anything. We'll be able to retreat on Eli's turn, though.
And we see the Mega Boss being bullied by those trees. The Kurnoth Hunters are deciding to shoot him. Matt, finding out that the attack on death is only happening during the combat phase, is opting to just go ahead and remove the Mega Boss as a threat. Notice Zombie, it may look that case, but I remember this is a dice game. We saw a Larial whiff before.
And there
it
goes
may
the
be
Mega
the
Boss.
case. A Mega Boss, though, is shot off the board by those Kurnoth Hunters. That's going to be a big loss for Eli. That's a lot of damage potential that he had with the Destroyer weapon, just basically going away.
Actually managing to land that spear, very difficult on 2s and 2s.
And a War Charmer gets popped by a big spear throw from Larial. So we're starting to see the support pieces go from the Ironjawz as Matt very systematically takes out each piece. And the other Kurnoth Hunters are choosing to shoot that front unit of pigs right there in the center. We'll see if his luck continues. It's been a very strong round for Matt so far. So Eli saving most of those. It does look like 4 damage has been put onto a pig.
Going into Sylvaneth charge phase here. Man, Alarial and the Scythe Kurnoth Hunters, unless he wants to charge in the Great Bows, which I think with how he's using them kind of as a screen for Alarial later on when she strikes and fades, he probably won't do that.
I do agree. Eli's in a tough spot. Matt has been very good about controlling the tempo of this game, and we're seeing this Larial Song of War be resplendent throughout the realm of Garan. So Larial definitely looking to dice that cabbage.
Delicious. Oh, he does get a +1 to his attacks against the Maw Crusher, I believe, from the Heartwood priority target ability.
Matt opted not to basically pop the once per turn overgrown on all the table. That's to be Right of Life. He did think about it though.
Eli, technically, I do want to point out, still winning.
Eli is a little bit ahead in points. He's managed to basically take an early lead. We'll see if he's able to control basically what he's going to have left to control the game at the end. but it is definitely possible that he just basically splits up. But I think you need to do damage earlier on, or at least remove some of the ability for Sylvaneth to basically have it all their own way.
One of the taco party pack. I'll open up my burrito. Put a taco. What would you call it if you put a taco in a burrito and then ate it? Oh. That'd probably be the name of it on the menu, honestly. Yeah, honestly, Sylvaneth is kind of doing some cleanup here. Unless Spencer's pigs can kill off all the Karnoth hunters. Chat says to my question, a Bernaco? I like Torito better. It's a Torito. Wow, did actually charge in that unit of Kurnoth hunters into those 3 pigs. I guess where they are, they're still acting as a speed bump for Alario later in the game.
Well, yes, and they can still, being that that middle terrain is overgrown, they still have the ability to strike and fade with them. So he can basically just put them right back where they were. So he's doing what damage he can where he can. But definitely, I think Matt is feeling very safe this turn.
Oh, that's a okay. It's like a lav mic, but it's like duct tape to your chest. Yeah, for like, I don't remember.
In the right ring. There was no one.
Interesting. So Matt opted not to charge Alariel in.
This is a, you only had one left.
It forces the Eli to charge.
Yeah, like it really kind of does force Eli to charge because what's he gonna do? Not charge the Mock Crusher?
Yeah, and it like Alariel, even if he does manage to lift her, she's just gonna come back. So this allows him to basically play it safe, remove threats where he can, and force the Mock Rush to go in a position where he doesn't want to go. And that's, even though he's going to Lariel, it's not going to do a lot of damage, and still force him to basically just stay in the back.
I mean, at this point, just send the Mock Crusher up here out of spite. Oh, that's a good point. Taco Bell already did that. It was called the Cheesy Gordita Crunch.
Joe coming in with a plus Joe.
If they still have it, we should double dash and get some Cheesy Gordita Crunch.
You got that.
Can opt to not pick a proving ground. Mm-hmm. You choose to not make an objective a prime objective, correct? No, you do have to. Okay. For the VOD, you do have to pick an alpha. You do not have to pick an alpha or a. Yeah, you have to pick an alpha. You don't have to pick a proving ground for this battle plan, which is close to the chest.
So we're watching pigs attack where they can to do some damage on the size. Not enough to lift one though. So we're looking at Matt basically prep to take that objective from Eli. Make sure he has a few dudes within 6 inches of that objective. Keep in mind that those Kurnoth Hunters with size count as 3 models each, meaning they are 5 wound models. Matt grabbing a alarming number of forest green dice to roll for these size.
Spencer, what chance do you think your pigs have? The answer is sad face. All out defense on the yellow pigs in the top.
I'm sorry,
right.
Tex Wargamer. I am a Gargant player. They are 2 models apiece.
Oh, they're dead.
And the pigs get scythed off the board like shoals of wheat.
Well, I really expected them to live and just kill all those scythes.
No, they only did 3 damage. So pigs, typically without all the buffs that afford to them by the Ironjawz, don't actually do that much damage. That's what we kind of see. The Kurnoth size are very tanky.
They need the what's the +1 damage?
They need Violent Fury from the
Violent Fury, get him beat. They do more damage on the charge. Wait, no, the pigs don't do damage on the charge, right? They do impact hits, but they don't get any extra damage.
Pigs get pluses to hit on the charge, so that definitely helps them stick more damage. They don't, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Impact hits on a 2-up if they have core hackers. You get one mortal wound for each pig.
Yep. Impact hits, and yeah, that's it. They're basically the same as Evocators on Dracolines, except way cheaper. I'm not salty. Oh, and Battleline. Definitely not salty.
Well, Battleline can be a liability for this particular GHB. So pigs doing no damage to those Kurnoth bow hunters, and we're seeing that kind of happen. The kind of trade spaces, we see 1 pig removed, no damage on the Kurnoth hunters. So tree is definitely coming off favorable in this round.
I believe we're going into the bottom of
So I think Eli actually has an opportunity here. He can, with the Mock Russia basically being free to move, I think he actually goes towards the Kurnoth Hunters. I know Matt's expecting him to hit Alariel, but I don't know if that'd be as impactful as just removing the Kurnoth Hunters and then tying up Alariel with pigs.
I did kind of make a joke about that, but going up forward if that 6-man unit and attacking first. Yeah, Matt's scoring 5 points here, but to your point, Brian, I know I kind of made a joke of it earlier, but taking that Maw Crusher and going up into this unit of 6 Scythes up here and attacking first and getting a ton of damage in on them. I'm not sure the save on the Kurnoth Hunters.
They do have a 3-up save normally, but he can roar them off to prevent an all-out defense. And with Ironjawz being able to fairly easily chew through that armor saves, whether he claims the wall or is just native to Rend, I think he actually has a pretty good shot of just lifting those Kurnoth Hunters. And that's going to be a piece that Matt can't bring back.
Yeah, taking those off the board, and then I think one of his only paths to victory here is to try to lock everything else down. He still controls a lot of objectives. Try to kind of lock everything else down, which is going to be really difficult with the fade.
Right. I mean, really the play here is to go for that double turn. He has to play for that. He's behind. He needs to play aggressively in order to make it up. So he does that by starting to take pieces off the board.
Eli has chosen eye for an eye as his battle tactic.
I think that's a good battle tactic to go for at this point. He's been taking basically a swift kick to the pants this whole game. So trying to get back some easy points by just killing a unit. It's good. I think it's a good call.
Yeah, eye for an eye. He's with that. He's probably going into one of those unit of Kurnoth Hunters.
Definitely. He has to remove something from this board. He has to make something happen. He has to make those plays occur in order to basically be able to just stay in the game.
Yeah, if he can take off that 6-man unit of Hunters and the 3-man unit that's already in combat with his pigs, he stands a decent chance. Well, maybe not decent, but there is a chance of him being able to control enough of the board to still be in the game.
Yeah, ideally what I'd like to see him do is to move up north on the top of the board, hit those Kurnoth Hunters with the Maw Crusher, and take that unit of 3 pigs and just go and basically harass Marathi.
Yeah.
Or Alariel.
Alariel.
Sorry. I have Doc on the brain.
All right, Mystic Shield, fail unbound on the Maw Crusher, but Basham Lads did go off.
It's going to be a +1 to wound, which will definitely help the Maw Crusher as attacks stick.
Where's my cheesy gordita crunch?
Louise texted me and she said she'll be.
Oh. I was like, the Tom Blonde move, drop your prime turn.
Eli thinking hard. I see the gears moving as he basically channels the wall to determine what is going to be the move that's going to help me win the game.
Eli rubbing both of his brain cells together right now.
Yeah, let's get the chat. Let's channel your energy into Eli's brain. So Eli is thinking long and hard about what his next moves are, where he wants to go. Looks like he's opting to take that 3-man unit of pigs up into the Kurnoth Hunters with scythes.
Looks like a little bit of rumble there in Gur. Got Eli swimming in command points. Got a little bit of movement running around. Looks like he's retreating those pigs out. He's going to put the Maw Crusher up there. Try to start forcing that center.
So we see him retreat away from the Kurnoth Hunter's bows and move up towards the Kurnoth site with size. It looks like the war boss will elect to go into Marathi, so we'll see what happens there.
Marathi?
Or Ilarial, I tell you, I have Marathi on the brain.
That's next game. That's something that I have to deal with. Yeah, I think picking up an extra attack for the Maw Crusher and then an extra wound isn't a bad idea. It puts him in a place to start really forcing into the, if he goes first with the double, it does kind of put him in a dead zone if he doesn't, just because of the positioning for where that Maw Crusher is going to go.
My concern definitely here is that if he removes Ilarial, that's great. She's going to come back. I think he needs to really focus on removing the sides, and I just don't trust a 3-man unit of pigs to remove that unit.
No, I mean, the pigs are going to be there for a speed bump. I think on the wall, the 3 pigs at the top are definitely going to put some hurt onto him. Losing one of the War Chanters is a really big piece there against him. Dropping his damage down to damage 1 on those pigs, not great. They are bounty hunters, so they are going to be picking up an extra damage against those.
They will not. Kurnoth are not Galatian veterans, being that they're 5 wounds.
Too many wounds.
But we do see the Violent Fury go on the Maw Crusher. Eli is really just hoping to take out a huge control piece and hopes on those. But we see we see a 1s on charge, and we're gonna see that a reroll enough to get the Maw Crusher into Lariel. Actually, it looks like he's going to Kurnoth, to the Kurnothies. So definitely looks like he's gonna overkill those. Yeah. So wants that extra wound, wants the extra attack, playing it safe. He does want to just go through those pieces where he can.
It's not actually making it this
May have been on your side, on the laptop.
Yeah. So yeah, Brian, this turn didn't go the way we thought at
I think it may just be. I think it may just be.
And we see the Kurnoth with bows picked up, and that gives strength from victory +1 to the Maw Crusher.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he wanted. And there was very little chance that Maw Crusher wouldn't pick up an entire unit. So
I still think he would have been of much better use going to the top or moving those Kurnoth with sides. I think they're just a very scary unit.
there was a chance going into them that he wouldn't have picked them up. So he probably would have taken some damage on the crackback, and he wouldn't have gotten strength and victory.
Absolutely, and so he definitely is playing for smashing bashing here to make sure he is mitigating, basically really leveraging his damage capabilities. I think this is something that it's tough, right? The Kurnoth, they are brick walls. Even that 2-man unit, that was 10 wounds that he had to chew through, and that's not guaranteed for a lot of armies.
3-up save, 2 wounds apiece. Oh, wait.
Kurnoth are 5 wounds.
5 wounds apiece. Apologies. We actually discussed that earlier. Yeah, 3-up save, 5 wounds apiece. That's a lot of wounds he has to choose through.
Yeah, I mean, even with this unit, that's 25 wounds. I mean, that's most of a Gargant. So it's going to be very tough for them to chew through, even with the pig's output. But he needs to do what damage he can. He needs to start putting that damage on those Kurnoth hunters, or to reduce what they can do back to him. Otherwise, they're just going to chew right through him.
Oof, not even picking up a single hunter off that attack sequence.
So with those pigs attacking, we're seeing not a lot of output come out from those pigs. This is what I was worried about. Eli really needed to put some damage on one of those 2 hammer pieces, and if I was Matt, I'd be happy to trade those Kurnoth with bows just to be able to do my damage back. The longer he keeps those Kurnoth with sides in combat, the more damage they're going to do, and that is just more value is going to basically accrue throughout the game. He's getting major value on these. So 12 wounds going straight through the armor. We're seeing those 6 dice rolled for the mystical saves, and that's most of the unit just being picked up. Definitely respect the size.
Getting that free blood tooths pile in at the end of combat phase.
And just shifting around, getting some movement going. So Eli holding 1 and 2. It's going to give him 4 points.
Holding on to that lead that he's got. I expect that to turn around in this round. At winning priority again, and I don't see a reason that he would give away this turn at all.
Yeah, I think Matt takes his turn and just kind of seals the deal. He has the output to kind of pick up the majority of these nasty pieces. I think we're going to see the end here.
Yeah, in this GHP, one of the reasons you kind of wouldn't take turn if you have priority is your opponent gets to choose the proving ground, but in this case it doesn't particularly matter for either of them.
It doesn't. I think Matt just takes it and just ignores proving ground. He has enough objectives to score in the points that he needs. He may not be scoring the extra point for the alpha objective, but he doesn't need it. He's going to able to leverage his pieces into the major players of the Ironjawz and just really pick them up. And we see Ilariel pop the Rite of Life. That's going to give board-wide overgrown to all the terrain features.
Yeah, which means he gets all the buffs from a normal Wildwood on any terrain on the board.
It's going to give him a lot of movement options. It's going to let him go where he needs to. Again, strike and fade is still an option. I'm pretty sure he's going to engage at several points here and probably just pick up what's left.
Yeah, we'll see if he can actually do some meaningful casting finally.
And we see Spite Swarm gets unbound off the board.
Not getting his command point on Alariel for the heroic action. Oh, interesting. So Eli, for his heroic action, did I forget what the command point one is actually called, but he did actually rally one of these pigs back. So this unit is back to full strength. Lariel miscast again.
That's 2 miscasts for this game alone.
So taking a little bit of damage, but it probably doesn't matter because she's just going to heal it back.
You just
at
heal it
the end
back.
of the
She's
hero phase
very
anyway.
safe. Going to movement phase, Lariel with just a mere 16-inch movement. She's gonna pretty much allow her to go wherever she wants to be.
Yeah, the 16-inch move paired with that absolutely massive base is pretty terrifying.
I'm curious to see where that big spear goes. I wonder if it would go into a war chanter or he's just gonna basically try to pick off a pig.
Judging from what he's been doing so far, he's probably just going to chuck it at the War Chanter and hope. And if it takes the War Chanter off the board, excellent. If it doesn't, he can probably deal with it later.
It's good value just to basically throw it, remove the support pieces, get them out of the way.
Yeah, threatening to send essentially everything he has left right into that Maw Crusher.
You see the Arch Revenant just kind of shuffling around. Secure that objective. See the Colonel Hunters basically just doing their teleport shenanigans. So everything counts as a Wildwood. Allows them to move wherever they want.
Just bringing those Kurnoth Hunters down to make sure he retains control of that bottom objective.
It's Matt's signature move, mitigating risk, can make his opponent make unfortunate decisions.
Yeah, Matt does have an interesting play style. He focuses less on playing better than his opponent, which he usually does anyway, and instead he kind of focuses on just, I don't really know how to say it, making fewer mistakes.
He definitely plays to just play a consistent game. He mitigates risks where he can. Wants his opponent to really have to feel that you're in a position to roll dice and then fail.
Oh, interesting. I think the spear was chucked at the pigs. Not sure what else.
So we saw the Kurnoth Hunters shoot into the pigs.
Oh, right. The Kurnoth Hunters that he just moved down shoot into the pigs. Understood. Oh, checking the spear into the Maw Crusher, which kind of makes sense since the Tree Lord and Alaria are going into the Maw Crusher this turn anyway.
And as per tradition with those big, meaty 6 damage attacks, he's going to miss them.
Yeah, hitting something on 2s and 2s is fairly difficult. Yeah, getting more than enough to make it into the Maw Crusher, which was the target all along.
And now we see 2 gigantic 130 millimeter bases just in combat.
Yep, Tree Lord also making it into combat just to put a little more damage on.
We're seeing a stomp going into the pigs, doing 2 mortal wounds. And the roar coming from the tree man.
Yeah, one of those situations here where Matt not really choosing to do a monstrous action or monstrous rampage against the Maw Crusher with either of his 2 monsters, because the only one he really can do is Titanic Duel, and they both already hit on 2, so it wouldn't really help them at all.
So he did roar with the tree man and stomp on the pigs, so that's where his monstrous actions went. Making sure that he does what damage he can to those pigs. Every little damage helps, and then making sure that the Maw Crusher can't all-out defense.
Yeah, everything from Alariel going into the Maw Crusher now. That's quite a bit of damage going in.
Yeah.
Worth noting that Alariel is in combat with basically everything right in that little cluster.
Yeah, Alariel's pretty safe from pigs. She wants to deal with damage she can. Going through 19 wounds, that is the Maw Crusher, can be pretty tough.
Not going to pick off, I believe, with impact hits.
So I believe the talent dwindling went into the pigs, being that has no rend. He opted to basically do what damage he could to the pigs. That was more likely to stick.
Nice. Oof, yeah, any of those horns that get through from from Alariel are massive damage. What's the rend on the Great Horns for the Beetle?
The Great Horns is 2 rend, so pretty impressive. Doing a decent amount of damage to the Maw Crusher, forcing that 3-up save to 5s. Yep. We foresee the Strike and Fade, putting Alariel in a very safe spot. And now we see the Tree Lord about to suffer the wrath of the Maw Crusher. So we're seeing lots of big damage, big rend attacks go straight into the Tree Lord. Matt's having to roll some saves.
Not Marathi's attacks. She actually put some into the pigs, which took out a pig, and I believe she only did 5 damage to the Maw Crusher. You can you can just barely see the Maw Crusher's damage dice right here, and I'm pretty sure that's a 5.
Yeah, not Marathi. Actually, Alariel only did a little bit of damage, so she kind of bounced. And that's what we were kind of, it's a dice game. She doesn't have that many attacks.
I'm happy for you.
So she doesn't have that many attacks, even though they're hitting on 2s and 2s. You're going to start seeing those stuff go off, and when you have a 3-up save, you roll like Eli does, you're going to be able to mitigate some of that initial damage. And that's what we're seeing. So now the Maw Crusher is in a very commanding position. So he absolutely mulched the Tree Lord, and now we're starting to see some options open up for Eli.
Was the Tree Lord removed from the board when I wasn't looking?
The Tree Lord got absolutely cut in half by the Maw Crusher.
Wow.
And we're seeing a couple damage coming back in from that lone Gorgunta. Manages to knock off one of the Scythe Kernel's Hunters, so taking the unit of 6 down to 4. It's a pretty big win for him, but we're probably going to see his pig get basically mulched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at this point for Eli, it's kind of all about movement mitigation for Sylvaneth. If you can kill off enough units and then kind of lock Alariel down and control where she goes and hold on to another objective, there's still a small chance you can win this game.
Absolutely. At this point, it's his damage control. He's trying to basically get what little wins he can. If he can get more units on the board than Marathi, he actually has a strong chance to basically pull this game back. So with those pigs being removed, that is going to be Matt's battle tactic. So he's going to score 5 for this turn. And now we move into Matt's turn. He chooses alpha objective to be that top back corner. Or Eli's turn. Matt chooses his alpha objective to be that top left-hand corner. We see a rally come down for that pig unit. It's a forlorn hope. Does not get them back.
Did you already mention that Eli went for a rally there on those pigs and did not get it?
Yep.
Okay. Eli furiously rubbing his 2 destruction brain cells together to try and come up with a plan to get out of this conundrum that he's in.
He's kind of between a rock and a hard place right now. He's kind of surrounded by angry trees, and Alariel is still able to basically stick and move wherever she wants, and is for the most part pretty impervious to damage.
He does still have a lot of damage locked up in that Maw Crusher. He just has to send it to the right spot if he wants to have a chance in this game.
Right, it's a matter of board control at this point. A lot of his pieces have been moved off the board pretty systematically. The Maw Crusher, although capable of doing quite a bit, can only be basically in one place.
If he can come up here, take the Maw Crusher to somewhere around this point, and these pigs over here, he can take off the scythes off the board and regain control of both of these objectives, which would get him hold 1, hold 2. Because he still controls this bottom right objective.
He does.
However, I'm not sure what else he could do in this instance.
If I'm Eli, what I want to do right now is start removing options off Matt's board. So being able to go to the bottom, maybe hit that Arch Revenant with those 2 pigs, I think that is something that's a little more doable for him. And then send the Maw Crusher straight up into those scythes. And being able to do that would remove options off the board.
Yeah. He does want to take off Matt's pieces off the board, but this being bottom of 4, he does need to continue to hold enough objectives to stay neck and neck, stay up on his points, so he has enough to actually win at the end of the game.
Absolutely, and that's just kind of what we're seeing with Ironjawz. They're just started running out of steam. They need to basically make some big plays, but they just don't have the material and the actual units to do so. It looks like Eli is opting to take advantage of your strategy, moving up. He's going to go and basically do a 1-2 punch to those Colonel scythes, hopefully remove them and take those objectives.
Yeah, so kind of going even further into the strategy that I was talking about for Eli, he has chosen his battle tactic of this one's mine, which is kill a unit with your general, which his Maw Crusher is more than capable of doing.
Absolutely, that Maw Crusher, incredible output that we're seeing from him. He does have the capability of removing units, and we're just seeing Eli basically just stack the deck in his favor, right? He's going to need to do damage into those Kurnoth hunters in order to stay in this game.
What phase are you in?
Yeah, so this is shaping up to be a, if he can kill the size of 4-point turn, which will tie him up with Madden, at least give him some options, a path toward victory.
So he does have a couple options. If he can win top of 5, we may end up seeing a tie game. So Bellow from the Maw Crusher not doing any significant damage. Those trees were very handily able to save those. And that's the charge.
What is it?
He's blowing his. Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you say it again?
I am respectfully walking this turn. Respectfully walking.
And Eli respectfully,
Eli's blowing
very
his wog.
politely, calls the wall.
What was that, Steven?
Eli's blowing his wog.
Can we get a whoa in the chat?
Wog. Yeah, only getting a 4 on that Maw Crusher, which does not get him into range of that top objective. It's a little bit hard to see. He may or may not be in range, but he can always pile in, just kind of swing his base over there to get on top of that objective.
Absolutely, he should be just fine.
And honestly, at this point, he doesn't even need to charge those Gorgrunters in and put them in danger, because at the end of combat with Bloodtooths, if he can kill the unit, he gets a free 3-inch move in any case. Ooh, nice.
So we see 4 1s on a 2 and 2.
5 ups for the Tree Boys. Ooh, only 6 damage going through from the Makros's biggest profile, I believe. This is the Fist.
Absolutely. So that's the Riptooth Fist. That's his high damage attack. We'll still see some other attacks coming in from the Maw Crusher. It's not quite over yet. We see 7 from the Maw Crusher's big fists. And 28 damage coming on the Kurnoth Hunters.
28 damage from what? What does he have that can do that much damage?
That would be the Maw Crusher's big meaty fists. So the Mighty Fist and Tail doing just considerable damage. Those are, in this case, Ren 3 damage, or well, probably 4 damage, since I suspect the Maw Crusher received Violent Fury. And that lifts the unit. So big win for Eli there, removing those Scythe Hunters. That's a massive damage piece just removed off the board.
Is he within
Now that's good for Eli. That gives him another one strength victory. That gives him another wound, another attack, and we're seeing him basically trying to claw his way back into a game. And that was the priority roll. So with that priority roll, we saw Matt roll a 1. So Eli gets the double turn, and that puts him in a very good position. Yep, so that ties up the game and puts Eli in a pretty good position. If he's able to score a good amount of points here, he may be able to tie or possibly win the game. So Eli, being nose place for the week, he will have to remove all battle line in order to crew that. So that means that he must remove that 3-man unit of Kurnoth Hunters. It's going to be difficult. Yeah, he's going to have to Mighty Destroyer to do that double move. He also has Fasten available to him, so he has the speed available to get there. And then that might also put Matt in a problem because he has to do take what's theirs. So he's going to have more units than Eli in his deployment phase. And now we're starting to see the game kind of turn, right? With Matt's list, he only has a few options. So Lariel being a huge damage piece, it's the same problem that we saw Eli have previously, is that it's big, it's damaging, but it's only one piece.
Yeah, it's
and you can't be everywhere at once.
It's interesting that gaining momentum as a battle tactic on the Kurnoth bows, because that because he needs to kill him for his grand strat, so he might as well go all in.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the battle tactic as
you're
well.
doubling in, or you're doubling up on what you need to do to win the game. So Eli,
good.
Eli basically just keeping his game plan, be very laser focused for that.
It is an interesting pick for Matt to take what's theirs in a list with five units total.
Well, I think Matt's he doesn't have a lot of other good options. This is very tough GHB for those type of grand strategies. So I think his thinking there is that he's going to do more damage to his opponent. If he doesn't, he's just going to lose the game anyway. So he is going to basically try to do more of what he can of what he needs to do to win the game. That's basically take off big points, and I think he's leveraging that mobility that he has naturally with the army.
Gotcha.
So he is within 12 of Alariel, so that means that Fasten is going to come into big play here. This is why Maw Crushes take that. So this will allow him to move out of that, and then a Mighty Destroyer again to move towards those Kurnothi Hunters. And that's going to put him within striking distance for sure.
Yeah, honestly, Eli winning priority. The first time he's won priority this entire game, winning that on the last turn, so Matt doesn't have a chance to like hide those hunters or kind of gum everything up with Alariel is huge here. Honestly, a lot of people probably thought that Eli was out of this game, but taking those top two objectives and then winning priority on the last turn of the game has kind of really brought him back.
Absolutely.
And he has a very decent chance here.
So the Ironjawz resiliency really paying in. Alariel, she does have big damage attacks, but she doesn't have very many of them. And when one misses or you make those saves, you're starting to see it that Maw Crush's resiliency really come into play. So that big base coming into effect, definitely basically proving to be a problem. But he found an area where he can basically move appropriately. So he's going to basically move him right there in the middle and just kind of hang out there.
Yep.
So now that he's moved there with Fasten, he has options. He can Mighty Destroyer in to get that hero phase charge, which he needs a 7, which is what he needs.
Yeah, like a lot of games, Eli's chances of winning have come down to basically a single die roll.
Which, I mean, in my experience, Eli is basically very good at hitting.
Yeah, moving those pigs and his heroes back, probably kind of spreading them out so Lariel can't hit multiples, just trying to deny Matt his grand strategy here. I do want to point out, though, that for Matt's grand strategy, the Revenant is still alive down here. It hasn't done a whole lot this game except buff the Grebo Kurnoth Hunters, but it is still alive down there. Oh, we are seeing the Mighty Destroyers move. Alariel redeploying, choosing to go up there and take that objective, so it's even more important now that Eli
so it is important we are in the movement phase, so that was the normal move.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so not a Mighty Destroyer.
Not a Mighty Destroyer.
Okay, not a Mighty Destroyer.
With being within 12, he would have had to charge. And I think he rolled that previously, but didn't get enough movement to get around that piece of terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just seeing the model shift around. Alariel looks like she redeployed, so she is going to be within 6 of that objective.
Yeah, so Eli, even more imperative now that he goes down there and kills those Kurnoth Hunters and takes at least one of those objectives.
Absolutely. We're seeing him, again, just spread out. That's going to mitigate what Matt's able to do on his turn.
Mm-hmm. He also needs to make sure he retains control of that bottom right objective, because if that tree revenant does not get into combat and nothing is down there, Matt could go over there and take that, and that would be game.
Absolutely. And we see the bellow go off. And we see just a little bit of damage go on those Kurnoth Hunters.
Yeah, a couple. I think honestly that's sort of what Eli wanted. Less than 5 damage.
Yes, he definitely didn't want to kill one because that would make the charge harder, but putting damage on those Kurnoth Hunters makes what he has to do easier.
Oh, and I think that
was
the
a charge roll, so a nice meaty 11. And that gives basically gives him right where he needs to be. Being that he's on that larger base, he's not going to be able to really tag that Arch Revenant.
Mm-hmm. It is important. I do believe he's in range right here, but this is important to make sure that Arch Revenant can't just fly away.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure, but he might be within range of this objective. So just go ahead and take that off of Matt. Important to note that the alpha placement for Eli is going to be very important.
It's be very important. I think you just let the Maw Crusher babysit it.
Start of combat. This is extremely important combat. If he can't remove those Kurnoth Hunters, then the game is over.
And we see all-out attack being given to the Maw Crusher. Eli taking no chances here.
Wow, no face. Yeah, I believe.
So we see 5 attacks from the Rip 2 Fist, giving him -1.
Yeah, 6 damage coming from off the rider before he goes into the main meaty attacks of the Mod Crusher itself. Wow, taking the unit out by 1
Ooh,
damage.
yeah. So placement there, coming in very important. He's out of range of the ward by 1 inch, so it overkills him by 1, removes the unit, and that will be Eli achieving his battle tactic.
Achieving his battle tactic and holding, maybe hold 1, hold 2, hold more, depending on if Alariel got within range of that objective up top. Eli also securing his grand strategy, which is no place for the weak. He has removed all of Matt's battle line off the board, so that's effectively 3 additional points.
For next time.
Is there a battle line left on the field?
But he's going to fail his battle tactic. Because he doesn't have more objectives. Because Matt has 3.
Oh, Matt. Okay, wow. It looks like he is going to fail his battle tactic because Alariel came up top and took this objective away from him.
Yep, she redeployed.
And then whichever one.
Yeah, so Eli will control one of these bottom objectives, but Matt, with the redeploy, came up and took this top objective, denying Eli his battle tactic for this turn. So he's going to get hold 1, hold 2 for probably a 2-point turn, and his grand strategy. So he still has a path to victory.
I think it ends up being.
So we see at the bottom of this top of Eli's turn 5 that he's going to score 4 points. So Alariel with a clever redeploy was
He's going to score 2 points. He does not get his battle tactic.
not get his battle tactic.
So he has hold 1, hold 2, and that is it.
Interesting.
So I'm pretty sure what's going to happen here is Eli's already secured his grand strategy. Matt will probably not get his grand strategy, but he will potentially score a 5-point turn. So this will end up being 23-23 minor victory Matt, just because Matt will probably secure all of his battle tactics for the game. Matt currently considering a desecrate their lands.
So Matt here basically talking through his options, deciding what he can do. He's going to have to teleport over. He's trying to avoid a redeploy where possible.
we might be actually talking out the rest of the game here, just seeing if there's an option for Matt to essentially guarantee his 25 points and a battle tactic.
You've done 4 damage. You effectively put him at his force roll.
We've seen Matt just double checking his options, seeing if he killed the Makrasha through Strength from Victory. His basic is War Scroll amount of wounds of 18. That's a tough ask for Alariel.
Yeah. So while they're chatting, once again, this is our first bi-monthly stream that we're going to be doing streams bi-monthly. We are also streaming Hammerfest next weekend, 5 games of Hammerfest. If you want to come out and join us, it's going to be me and Brian as well as a special guest that we will introduce when we get there. And if you like what we're doing, follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We have a website with game aids, weirdnobz.com, all that sorts of stuff. Feel free to interact with us in chat. We love that. But yeah, overall, we're just kind of waiting to see if they can talk the game through here or if they need to play through the rest of Matt's turn. Matt's going for eye for an eye. Yeah, currently playing for the tie. Oh, apologies, Eli already scored his 2 points. But Matt currently playing for the tie because he will win a minor victory because he has completed more battle tactics than Eli will. Duncan. That's not what you wanted?
Eye for an eye.
Yeah. Spencer, everyone's just punk with. She has no way to your chart. 4. Alright, so 3 wounds left with the
5, Spencer. They used that 5, right? How much does the Madcap have? 4 also?
Oh, it succeeds.
Oh, it succeeds.
But I only have 7 dice for it. I roll all 7 for you.
At this point, I don't know what they're doing.
Matt's casting something.
Yeah, it's a question of can I put him back on the table? Successfully cast on a 7. Roll number of dice equal cast value. Each 3 plus cost more. So you're gonna get 7. 3 strong is 2 plus 4.
Doing some Sylvaneth spell. I heard them talking about it. Roll number of dice for each 3 up a mortal wound. I think he did a couple.
Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis. Oh.
Spite Swarm Hive cast on 11.
giving Alariel that extra 3 inches of movement depending on where he puts it.
Tree Song cast and then immediately dispelled by the Fungoid.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Matt considering going down with Alariel to kill the cabbage. If Matt kills the cabbage and takes this objective, he would take 6 for the point because his Revenant would take the alpha objective, giving it an extra point. So he wouldn't have a minor victory, he would have a major victory on points.
Absolutely. So he's going to try to play for the big win.
The big win. Which I respect. I would always do this. I've found myself in this position many times, Spencer. Doesn't have any sockets.
And we see Alariel kind of moving up our big pie plate, going just outside of 3 of that Maw Crusher.
Oh, interesting. Choosing to go in the center instead of over here on the left, who potentially takes this objective away. Oh, true. Yep. I see why he's doing that now, because he's moving his Tree Revenant off of that objective, so he's going to have to go over there and take it from the Maw Crusher.
Which means he's going to have to kill the Maw Crusher.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. He could have just kept the Tree Revenant, retreated the Tree Revenant, kept it on that objective, and then charged Alariel down there, so even if he didn't kill the cabbage, he still would have held onto that objective.
Yeah, but I think what he's doing here, he's going to try to score more objectives. He's going to kill what he needs to.
He's going to try to win more.
It is an interesting. I'm kind of curious why he moved the Arch Revenant away. I think it is probably a better play to leave him. He could have retreated far enough away to keep him out of 3 of the cabbage, but keep him within the objective.
We could have retreated it. Just kept it in range of the objective at out of range Maw Crusher.
If I kill Alariel.
Interesting. So as long as Alariel doesn't die, I think Matt has this game. I think he's playing for if he gets a minor or major victory at this point.
Absolutely.
He has enough points, and he's going to get his battle tactic to get his 5-point turn, and then he wins tie based on battle tactics completed. But if he kills the Maw Crusher, he gets that 24 points and wins.
What's what he has to do to try to win the game, right? Because he's not getting his grand strategy. He just doesn't have enough units, and he can't kill enough in order to score that.
players discussing now, and I think they just kind of validated what I said a second ago. Matt's playing for the major victory. I think he has the game in the bag regardless.
Matt with the charge he needs in order to get Ilariel into combat with the Mock Russia.
Mm-hmm. Really having no command points for all that defense here, so Matt probably just gonna stomp him.
Probably. It just kind of turns what to do. Like, it does make sense for an auto attack because he's a target of the hunt. It limits what he can do.
Matt probably all out defense here just to double make sure that Ilariel lives through this. Oh yeah, he doesn't even need to. He can fade, strike and fade, because everything is overgrown.
Well, not everything's overgrown, but he is within range of that wildwood, so he can just move over.
Mm-hmm.
If you did not get a teleport, it'd be totally worth it. But...
All right, not Marathi into the Mega Boss.
Eli taking a big meaty 10 damage, rolling for the mystical, and dropping it to 8. Leaves him on 5 damage remaining for the Mock Russia. We got 4 attacks coming from the Talon of Dwindling. And so he takes damage from Talon Dwindling, does not roll the 6, so the Mock Russia lives.
Mock Crusher lives on 1?
2 wounds.
2 wounds. Yep, and like Matt has discussed his entire strategy, he didn't manage to kill the Mock Crusher, so the major victory will not go to him, but he will strike and fade to contest that objective, to get his 5-point turn, to tie it up, and then win on battle tactics.
What a game. I definitely didn't think that this was going to be as close as it was. It looked like a couple things went Eli's way to just even make it even this close.
Honestly, the thing that we were critical about, Eli kind of being cagey and getting those high turns in the beginning, kind of almost won him the game, because he got a couple of 5-point turns early because he held back, he sat on objectives.
So now we're going to call Eli over here to get his take on the game.
The take is, don't forget your book battle tactics, everybody. If I had done the Ironjawz battle tactic to kill all the battle line instead of gaining momentum, I would have had the game by 2. I do get my grand strat.
Oh yeah.
So
Matt,
Eli
did you factor
has
in my grand strat? Yes. Okay.
Eli has his grand strategy. So where he is lamenting is top of 5, he failed his battle tactic. So if you'd taken the easy battle Ironjawz one, which would basically kill battle line, he would basically be winning this game right now.
Yep. I would have been up by 2 if I had gotten that. Instead, I end up with the draw because I chose gaining momentum instead of kill battle line.
So that is definitely unfortunate. Eli, how do you feel trees play into you?
It really comes down to exactly what we saw. In this matchup, it comes down to the critical combat turn, which we saw was round 3. If Matt comes out ahead in that, if the trees come out ahead in that, they're pretty much favored for the rest of the game. But if I come out ahead in that, then I run away with it. Matt punched me pretty hard. I was down a lot of stuff, but I still had the cabbage, and if you have the cabbage, you're always in the game. That's pretty much that's a lot of Ironjawz. I had the momentum. I had the ability to, with how few units he had, to deny his grand strat, and basically holding the fasten and not being super aggro at the beginning of the game kept me in the game. If I tried to full send early on, I would have lost this game in 2 rounds. So holding back is what honestly kept me in the game.
Definitely an interesting way to play that. We were somewhat critical of you playing KG, not towards the Ironjaw's general strengths, but I absolutely agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
You won this game basically through holding on and maintaining the amount of wounds with your pigs. You force Matt to roll dice, and when you do that, sometimes dice fall into your favor.
Yep. I pretty much was like trying to trade, quote, air quote, trade, because I knew the 3 pig units would just die to every Kurnoth. Every time I sent them into the Kurnoth with scythes. But the point was that if any of them live, then I pin them down. And because he can only get rid of 1 unit on his turn. So it was just, let's try to dictate combat where we can, because Sylvaneth really needs to dictate combat, especially when you have the big piece and Alariel. And Alariel was almost a distraction Carnifex in this game. If I ever went full Orc Brain and just decided to kill the big model, I would have lost too, because everything else is more important.
Absolutely. And like, she's more distraction Carnifex we've seen in the game, because even if you do manage to kill her, she's just going to come back.
Yeah. If Matt had decided to put Alariel in the middle of the board early, then I would have gone after her, because, you know, getting rid of her on turn 1 is good. Getting rid of her on turn 4 does nothing.
Right, you definitely want to, if you go for Alariel, you definitely want to do so early in the game to reduce her impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially in a list like this. If Alariel's off the board turn 1, he has the Arch Revenant, the unit of 6 heights, and the 2 unit of both sides. That's it for a board presence, and I more than double the amount of units that he has, which means, honestly, for basically a round and a half, I would have just not engaged unless I could full send everything into the army.
Fantastic. Incredible job keeping it slow seated. Definitely there were some couple chatters basically ruling against you and basically thinking that it was done turn 2, but you managed to pull out an impressive game. Way to go.
Here's the big brain strats. Ironjawz don't have to move forward. They can move in other directions. And if you remember that, you might actually win games you probably should lose.
Definitely Eli channeling more of the Morkish side of Gorka Morka today, pulling out an impressive tie, which still is a minor victory to Matt because he was able to achieve more battle tactics.
Because again, he got 5 battle tactics. I got 4 because I haven't played the army in 8 months, and so forgot battle tactic was a thing in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think experience came to affect this game a little bit. You not knowing exactly all the tools that you had at your disposal definitely cost you the game.
Yep.
But I think it was still an incredible feat, going from a game that was definitely hedged against the wall, turn 2, and pulling us into as close as it was.
Yeah, Matt definitely kept me on the ropes, for sure. And you know what? Again, for the first time playing this army in 8 months, I'm not unhappy with my performance. I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll take a minor loss.
Absolutely.
No big deal. I didn't lose my cabbage. I didn't lose all my pigs, so I think Porkamork is happy. Fungoid stayed alive, did what he does well. I lost a War Chant early, which sucked, but didn't end up really impacting it. I mostly needed 1 the whole game. Once the 6 pigs got reduced down to like 2, Violent Furying any of them was... a second Violent Fury would have been bonus, as opposed to an important part of the strat, right?
Once you take 2, you definitely want that redundancy.
I think the massive thing was the fact that I got Basham Lads for 3 rounds. I got it successfully for round 3, 4, and 5, and that is what allowed me to get my grand strat. Because being on 2s and 2s into all of those combats against the Kurnoth was what helped me get my grand strat. If I'm not on 2s and 2s, especially with that roll that I had into the Scythe Hunters, where I did I think I did 1 over their health total, then I don't get my grand strat. I don't even get enough damage, and I get blown out. Basham Lat's super critical to my damage output in this list.
Absolutely. So incredible game. At this time, I think we are going to take a bit of a break just so we can eat and refuel and get set up for the next game, but we should be back here shortly.
Awesome. Thank you guys for watching.
And we'll be back at 2:10 on the dot, so come back and we'll have another game again with the mighty Matt Robisch coming in with his Daughters of Cain with old school flair, and Spencer Miller challenging him with definitely not his list.
Challenging him.
So he'll be running Seraphon. It should be an incredible game, very strong list, and we'll see what's coming up with that.